Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Joel Morant and I'm here with Joel Dells, Andrew Velez, and it's episode 475.
You're pretty close.
76. Okay.
Hold on, it says 75 up there.
It does it?
Is 75.
Oh, it is 75.
Yeah,
okay,
it is.
so I got it right on the money. So today we're three men weaving it. River Brown could not make it today. Last minute notice, but have no fear. We're here to three-man weave this in transition, fast break for the layup, get it in the basket, money for the game winner.
What the fuck was
Yeah.
that?
He cooked.
Yeah, in transition, we got the steal. Dyson Daniels
I was
style.
going to say, well, it depends who's on defense. Is Daniels on defense? We're cooked.
We are cooked.
Dyson Daniels?
Dyson Daniels.
If he's the one defending the fast
That's what I'm
break.
saying.
Oh, no, I'm saying we're Dyson Daniels. We got the steal. We're in fast break.
Okay,
Okay.
now
And then the three-man
now we're
weave
here.
has started.
Got it.
Yes, so that's what I meant. I was playing 2K last night. I had a bet with JC that he couldn't score 25 points with Chris Middleton on me.
This
in a
version
game.
of Chris Middleton?
Yes,
Oh,
because
damn.
he was just talking outside and he was just telling me that he could use Chris Middleton in the game because I said it's hard to use players that aren't that athletic in 2K because you kind of just get boxed up. You can't really do much. And then he said that he could use Middleton, and I said, I bet you cannot drop 25 with him. I bet you can't do it. And then he said, okay, let's go play. And then we played, and I used the Hawks, and I was guarding him with Dyson.
Oh, you're a
yeah,
cheese.
you got it.
Yeah,
And
he-
how many points did he have?
24
Oh.
I'll give it to
on
him.
bat efficiency.
Of
Okay,
course.
that
If I'm
matters.
him, I'll give Middleton the ball every
Yeah,
time.
oh,
And
dear.
he sat out like the entire third quarter. He won the game though with the Wizards, and I
okay.
lost. It's just that bruh.
Okay, at least
2K.
you know that it's a blemish.
Nah, 2K, bruh. I don't know,
Who
man.
was getting after? Jordan Poole?
Jordan Poole was getting active in the third.
Okay.
Trae Young could not guard him, and I wasn't switching my assignments. And then outside of Trae Young, I couldn't really score with anybody. You know,
Did he have injuries off or were you playing like Jalen Johnson or anything?
No, he was not playing. So it's like this current version of the Hawks. And he was just doing his thing. Even though he finished with 24, he proved to me that he could use Middleton as the main
was the
guy
efficiency?
and win a game. It was like 9 for 24. It wasn't
Okay.
nothing crazy.
Not good, but
it
it's
Like the
wasn't.
biggest JT game ever.
Oh,
Yeah, it wasn't like
My
9
bad.
for 30. And he missed some easy ones when he got to the basket. Like, there's
damn.
some that 2K ain't give him that I'm like, okay. He probably could have had like 28 or 30.
Yeah, layup timing now matters a lot. Like in previous 2Ks, you could just go lay it up perfectly fine, but no, you need to time your layup. It's kind of corny.
There's certain players in 2K I just can't use, like those finesse players that aren't the most athletic. Devin Booker, for whatever reason, I cannot use in 2K.
Who's your best player in 2K? Like outside of like obviously like superstars.
Do you count Harden as a finesse player?
No, because he has a bit of athleticism to where he kind of has a strength too, to where if you try to blow by somebody, he'll just kind of get past them or just move them out the way, and it's easier
Okay.
to score with him. Devin Booker is weird because it's like you kind of really need to create space, and that's why it's hard for him. The 2K player that I'm the best with, I'm kind of the best with post players where you just kind of press up on the stick and you do that little move, and then that's it. You just get the basket. Those are like the guys I'm best with, but guards, I don't know, bro. Like I'm not that good with Jalen Brunson in the game. I'm not that good with a lot of guards. I'm gonna be honest. Like Harden, I've always been good with when I use him in 2K. Anthony Edwards, I'm good with.
Yeah.
It's just Minnesota's spacing is a bit clunky. That's why I don't like using them that much. SGA, obviously, I'm really good with.
He's the GOAT.
But no, most of the finesse players that really need to get their space for their shots, they're really tough to use for me.
I saw something. I don't know what it was on. Maybe TikTok or Instagram. But they were talking about 2K and just like the state of 2K and where it is now. There's just no real way to improve the game, right? I forgot what they were saying, but it was basically along the lines of you could either make the game look more realistic, but it won't play as well, or you can make the game play better, but it won't look as realistic, right? Like when you look at a 2K from like 2K5, it's so obvious the improvements you can make. They don't have all these game modes. The graphics are terrible, but now it's kind of like, what can you really do to really make things look better?
I think Agent made that video.
Was it Agent?
Yeah, I think it was Agent, and he talked about how, like exactly what you said verbatim. And I just feel like we kind of missed the mark on the golden era of 2K. We didn't
granted.
appreciate it all that much when it was happening in the moment.
Well, we know what happened. We talked about this before. It's the microtransaction.
It's some microtransactions, but I thought 2K16 had microtransactions, and it was the best 2K I've ever played.
I feel like microtransactions have gotten worse and worse as the years progressed.
They have. I just feel like it's just tough because you want to make it competitive, right? Because I remember I was playing 2K with my cousin the other day, and he was complaining a lot because he couldn't get the shot meter down and he couldn't green. And if you play somebody locally, the only way you make your shots is if you green. So you need to perfect people's jump shots. And if you don't play with the team all that much, you play for them for the first time, you're not going to know their jump shots. So all of the whites, he was just missing. And he was just getting annoyed because he's wide open and he's missing these. But
back in the day, it wasn't like
it
you
wasn't.
Have to,
no, you made some shots even if they were white.
Early,
And I know when I play online, there's sometimes that I even make white still. But I understand like adding that competitiveness to the game because, then you're rewarding people for not perfecting the jump shot. But then, there's just a balance to things. And
for my player, that makes sense.
Yeah.
If you're playing with your dude, you should know his jump shot because you're playing with it. But I agree. If you're playing just online, just quick play or something, that's a lot to ask.
So they changed it from last year to this year, where last year, if you didn't green it, you were missing. They changed it where now for timing, you can put it onto high risk, high reward. And essentially that means if you don't green, you're not making. You could do low risk, low reward, whatever it is, and you can make whites on my player. You can make whites online. But if you know your jump shots, you put it to high risk, high reward, it gives you a better green window.
Okay.
Which is why people play on low risk and they make whites all the time. And it's annoying because, again, I'm sitting here with slightly late, slightly earlys, not making any of my whites, but then you see a random player go and have their timing down to a different setting, and they're making all these whites. I don't play 5-on-5 quick play. I just don't enjoy it as much as I enjoy playing the rec, playing with my guys, playing with my own character. That's why I love James Harden, because he reminds me of my player. I probably would like Brunson as well, because Brunson's not a guy that's going to dunk the basketball in the game. Obviously, he's going to try and score at all three levels. That's kind of my guy as well. I probably would say my player is most similar to Jalen Brunson, though. High three, good mid-range, solid finishing. I think my finishing is like 6'4".
Oh, okay. Got some height.
Yeah. How tall is Brunson? 6'2"?
He might be 6'1", 6'2".
I mean, what a legend.
Yeah.
But yeah, quick play, I never really loved. I mean, back in the day, like 2K13.
Yeah.
So you mentioned about timing jump shots with players that you never use. I just get flashbacks to when you and I played, and Brandon Ingram was booty butt naked, wide open at the top of the key.
Was that the franchise?
Yeah.
That franchise, I played like 2 games. That franchise was fun for those 2 games.
I'm good with shifty players. Like Kyrie Irving, I'm really good with. Luka Doncic, I'm really good with too, but he kind of gets gassed in like the second half. If you use him a lot, not like real life. Hey, don't go there.
I saw the comments, the blow-bys. I forgot what. I think that was on the live you guys did.
People were trying to say that I was lying. There's not more than 5% of people. Well, yeah, whatever. I watch more Laker games than almost everybody.
I got you.
The game that I was alluding to, the Pacers, he was getting blown by every single time down the stretch. Against the Bulls, it was LeBron's fault. Yeah. I acknowledge that on the live.
That game was crazy.
LeBron lost us the game. Yeah. There's no way around it.
Nuts.
LeBron
also just super unlucky. Like a half-court shot.
He's playing at an all-defensive level right now.
Who?
LeBron.
Yeah, no, but that's why I say that. For him to sell the way that he did against the Bulls,
it was bad.
It hurt.
It was bad.
So Luka has to do so much on offense. I'm aware of that. He's been amazing shooting the basketball. He averaged 30 in the month of March. He shot the hell out of the ball, but his defense still wavers from possession to possession. That's all I was saying.
Nothing wrong with that. God forbid you give some critique.
But then he had the audacity to say that I don't love Luka like that.
Bro, come on.
What do you mean? You ignore flaws people you love.
Indirectly, I said Nico Harrison was right. Like, he was dragging it.
You're funny for that.
Is that not true?
No, I mean, that's what Nico Harrison was alluding to at points. There was some other things as well.
It's been like a month, and Drew's like, I can't take it.
I didn't say all that.
They also had back-to-back buzzer beater games.
I was going to say, we literally were recording that the night after, the night of us getting buzzer beatered on by the Bulls.
Yeah, you guys have had some crazy finishes. Even last night's game was good. To the wire.
Nah, but yeah, Luka is just, he's a bit slow, bro, in 2K. So when he starts off hot, you could do your thing with him. But then as the game progresses, he'll like miss easy bunnies. Like, it's hard. When I was playing with him on the Mavericks and when I played with him on the Lakers, it's kind of easier because LeBron can take a lot of the pressure off, and you just bulldoze your way with LeBron, and you get an easy bucket and stuff. But if you guys are watching this, the last episode we got, or the episode before that, we got to 600 likes.
Oh,
yeah.
Shout
out to Todd Jerome for coming on the episode after, and I think that episode's almost had 500 likes. Make sure you take the time and you like this video, because we take a lot of time to prepare and do this podcast for you guys and make it look all presentable. We're going to make some new changes to the studio. You see that there's no jerseys anymore. I think the hangers kind of just looks ghetto on it. So we'll probably get display cases, and we'll do some more modifications to the studio. But if you guys are watching this, make sure you like the video and you guys subscribe if you guys aren't subscribed already, and comment down anything you want to comment down. I've actually been looking at the comments, and it's been helpful for my dandruff.
I did see that was the episode I missed. I was like, I must have missed something huge.
It was like the first 20 minutes.
I started my first routine. Somebody recommended Aveeno apple cider vinegar shampoo and conditioner.
Have you? I'm sorry, I missed the last episode. You might have gotten over this. Have you just tried Head and Shoulders?
Oh, 100%.
He vocalizes, I hate people that recommend to me Head and Shoulders.
Because I've had dandruff, like when I was younger, I had dandruff, but I started using Head and Shoulders. It never came up.
Mine is more severe.
Okay.
And I also got, shout out to Fellow Sporter, which is Drew's brother.
I
also got a scalp scrub, that rubber thing, and it feels so good on my head.
Nah, Charles used to get dandruff bad. He used to get it bad. Yo, actually, happy anniversary to my brother. Today's his 3-year anniversary with his wife.
Shout out.
So that's actually great that you reminded me of that. Bad brother, but good brother, because I still remembered. But yeah, he used to struggle with it pretty badly, but obviously now he's fine.
April Fool's Day, that's right.
April Fool's Day, yeah.
Tough.
Yeah, right now
Fools rush in.
Right now I'm kind of just going through my hair. Yeah, I got a little flake here. You see?
Okay. But you think it's been improving?
It's improving. Yeah. If I did this like maybe last week, a lot would have fell.
How long has this been a thing?
It's been maybe for most of my life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I've always tried different things though. As of recently, it's been worse. And I don't know if it's just that I'll make it worse, because there are times where I'll just be chilling, watching TV, and then I start feeling my scalp, and I kind of feel like something on my scalp that's like a flake, that's like a dry flake, like feels like kind of like a scab.
Yeah.
And I start picking at it, and then it just starts to fall and stuff.
Effect, no doubt.
Yeah, and I just do it to myself sometimes. And there was one time where it was so bad that I said, you know what, I'm putting an end to this right now. I just went in the shower. I used a comb, and I was just scraping the hell out of my head.
I'm sure that was great.
I don't know if that. Yeah, that's not gonna do anything.
Terrible,
it was great. I did not have dandruff that night. And
then the next morning,
no, Jess was looking at my scalp, and my scalp was like burning red.
I believe it.
Just burning red. I was abusing my scalp, and it felt good for that one night though. It felt refreshing. I used this shampoo that had like mint in it. You know how mint, it gives you like a more, like it's like menthol when you put it on something. It just gives it like a cooling effect. It just, like, my head just felt very cool. It was good moments. Good moments. It didn't last forever, but it was good for that.
You're getting even when your hair was short.
Yeah.
Joel, do you want to know something that kind of went under the radar last episode or last time we were
the Tyrion joke?
Yo, yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I didn't notice in the moment. I wasn't laughing at that in the moment.
Because I watched it back too, and you do laugh after he says it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wait, is he laughing at that? No, you were laughing at John.
I wasn't laughing at that. I didn't even hear him say it. And then after,
bro, I read the comment too, and they were like, yo, Tyrion was crazy. I'm like, wait a minute. Did he say that? So I go back and listen. He's calling John Theon because Theon betrayed me. Theon, you know how it goes.
And it was like,
and
Tyrion.
Then he just points at Joel and goes, Tyrion. Yo, that was rude.
No, I didn't notice it in the moment. No, and I was hoping Riv was here today. So if you guys are watching this or listening to this, if we knew Riv was not here today, John would have definitely pulled up. I would have asked John to pull up, and if he ain't have school or nothing, he probably would have came. And we would have had a 4-man podcast. I wanted Riv here today because I think the statement he made on last podcast about the NFC having better rosters than the AFC is wrong. Outside of the Eagles, the Rams don't have a better roster than the Chiefs or the Bills or the Ravens.
I think he's trying to say that there's more good NFC teams, which if that's the case, it's not overly wrong because again, you have the entire NFC North. We'll take out the Bears for now because obviously they're still a work in progress. You have to respect the Rams. You still have to respect the Niners. Their win total is very high coming in. I think it's 10.5, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Absolutely. I think Seattle's still a good team. I know they did just lose Gino. I know they did just lose DK. I'm still going to give them the benefit of the doubt of being a good team. NFC East, you still have the Eagles. The Commanders are on the rise. I won't say Dallas. I won't say the Giants. That'd be disingenuous. And then last division, the South is whatever. But I think you have to respect, of course, the Buccaneers. I think they are a good team.
They have a good roster.
Rest of the division... Falcons, who knows? Like that's a TBD.
The AFC has just as many good rosters. The Dolphins are a good roster.
I don't disagree.
You can compare that to like the wild cards in the NFC.
Are they the Bucks of the AFC?
It's close. I like the Bucks because of the offensive line.
Me too.
But the Dolphins defense is better. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, but we were arguing about Aaron Rodgers. Like, if he goes to the Vikings, I think they're the second best team in the NFC, and he was like, it's harder to compete in the NFC than in the AFC.
Oh, that's tough. And the quarterbacks.
Yeah, exactly. But he told me that the rosters in the NFC are better, and I was like, I don't know about that.
I hear what he's saying with Detroit, with Philly.
Mm-hmm. That's the only two you can point to.
I think the Rams are getting there. Like, if the Rams defense, which was super young last year, if it takes another step up with the quarterback play they have, Stafford, the coaching staff, they could be in that mix for sure.
Yeah, but the corners and linebackers, they don't have any.
I also want to say for AFC. It's just ran through the Chiefs, which is why I can understand Riv feeling that way. It's like you just kind of get past Kansas City and you go to the Super Bowl. Easier said than done.
Yeah, but you're looking at the AFC, the Bills got a great roster.
They definitely do.
The Chiefs, of course, have a great roster. The Ravens have a great roster. The Broncos have a great roster.
Oh, it's nice of you to say that.
The Chargers now.
I wouldn't say great.
Have a really
they have
good
a good roster.
The Dolphins have a really good roster. The Steelers even have a really good roster.
Solid roster.
Solid roster's accurate.
They just have no quarterback. So
like, are we saying the Bengals have a good roster?
They have a great offense. It's tremendous.
They got star power. They got star power.
Like the Texans, I feel like that's the
great
definition.
Roster.
All right,
I think the defense is elite.
Agreed, and the offense is kind of just lagging because of the
offensive line. It's a great. They're basically.
I agree. I think Houston is a great offense.
They're like a
great
jacked
team.
Up version of the Seahawks.
I don't hate that.
They're probably better than them, though.
I was gonna say I like the Texans defense probably a bit more. Quarterback play, I like what Stroud could give me a bit more, just upside wise.
Outside of offensive
line. Because I don't think it's easier.
running back.
I'll give K9.
Because I don't think it's easier. Like Aaron Rodgers going to the NFC, I think there's an easier path to get there.
What was John's take on Aaron Rodgers? Did he have any take?
He wants him to go to the Steelers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't have any
other
options.
I don't know. He wasn't that passionate about it.
He thinks that Rodgers is going to retire.
It's possible. I don't know. There's comments today
happen.
that made it seem like he's going to go.
Did we have that conversation with John?
It was off camera that I had with him. He told me that he thinks Rodgers is going to retire. I don't think he's going to retire.
No, but that statement that you said about the Vikings, that was with John and Riv and me.
That was on the
pod.
That was on the podcast, and we talked about it. Like, you look at the Commanders, like, yeah, they made some awesome moves, but the defensive line still is not good.
Yeah, no, they made the star moves, but I think their depth is still a bit concerned. They didn't make enough upgrades, but they just went to the NFC Championship game. So, you kind of just lay your back on that.
No, I was hoping Riv was here today. He's not here, so drop a like for that. Not that you like that Riv's not here, but
man.
Just drop a like. Yeah,
John has been on a bit of a insanity run recently.
He has been. He's been generational.
Streets have been loving him.
Yep.
I've been loving him. He's been amazing.
He has been.
His content, I mean, I don't know. He's just been making gold recently.
Any key moments from last show that I missed from John?
From John, it was the Bucks
Theon
moment.
Greyjoy shit. That Bucks debate, he was losing me. He was with me, and then he was on.
We were basically talking about Giannis being able to win a playoff series, and then John was defending Giannis against his performance against the Heat.
Okay.
When they lost in 5 games.
You also didn't have to do what you did.
I did what I did because he was lying. Because at the time, I remember tweets of him saying that Giannis was the most to blame for the Bucks losing that series. And I remember he made a whole film analysis on it that, this spacing messes up the offense and all this other stuff. And I thought it was very informative. It was very accurate of what happened. It was a good depiction of what happened. So he was here saying that he didn't say that. And, he's defending Giannis. And I told him, you said that. And then he said, no, I didn't, And then I said, okay, fine. And I went on TikTok first to try to search for the video. I couldn't find anything. Then I went on Twitter and I just searched up Giannis, and then I was able to find it. and he basically had tweets of him saying Giannis deserves the most blame, and if this was any other superstar, they'd be getting criticized like Kawhi or Kevin Durant or whoever else, and it was a good funny moment. And John, he just was
Wasn't having
upset.
he just didn't understand how to handle that moment. He just went on a whole political tirade about, you know, how he grew, and he said, as you know, Joe Dells would say, a man can grow, and being very political.
I don't know. I mean, I'm probably, but I don't know if that's
being
my
very
saying.
political about him changing his opinion on it.
Okay, so this wasn't him admitting he was wrong. This was him just being like, I'm a different person.
Now, what's funny about that? He was like, no, that's kind of facts though. Like, it's facts, but he was
agreeing with his old take on it.
He's like, also disagreeing.
Yeah, he's like, I can acknowledge that he was more injured and he didn't have that much help around him.
I love John, man. I love John.
Yeah, no, it's funny, but no, he would have been here today, but you know, we got last minute notice, so it's all fine.
Yeah.
We're gonna 3-man weave this. We got a lot to talk about today. Like I said, if you guys haven't dropped a like already, please drop a like. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. I feel like this has been a talking point, a debate on social media. It's 2025 OKC versus 2016 OKC. A lot of people are picking 2016 OKC off the strength of Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook.
People love nostalgia.
I had to do my job. I looked back in 2016 to remind myself of the time and who they beat and how they even got to the situation of being up 3-1 against the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, they were great.
Coming into that postseason, they had the second most efficient offense in the league. They were a middle of the pack defense. They obviously had one of the best scorers in basketball in Kevin Durant, and of course Russell Westbrook was a great Robin at that point in time. But at moments showed that he could be a little bit more than that. And sometimes that was their downfall. And we saw that in the 2016 WCF. But in that run, they beat a 60-plus win Spurs team pretty handedly. Kawhi Leonard really wasn't the best version of himself. LaMarcus Aldridge averaged 28 in that series, if I'm not mistaken. He really played very well. But the OKC was able to handle business. KD wasn't his most efficient self from three, but in the last 3 games to close out, he was excellent. There really was no better player in that series than him. I understand taking OKC because of Kevin Durant. Because I think at that point, 2016 Kevin Durant versus this version of SGA, it's fair to compare the two because Kevin Durant is an all-time great and he was in his prime. This version of SGA offensively,
it's on his way.
It's one of the best we've ever seen, at least at the guard position. The team itself is one of the greatest defenses we've ever seen as well. I think when you look at the totality of the offense, you're like, if we took SGA out of this, it would not be obviously as great. That's obvious. If we took Kevin Durant off that OKC team, it would also not be that great. But at least they have somebody else that can handle and run an offense, especially 2016 Russell Westbrook. So if that's an argument that people want to use, then okay, I can understand it because their second guy actually could handle the ball and their defense, which still was okay. It had moments of being really good, especially just talking regular season, but mainly in the postseason. But what really was their bread and butter was that offense. I look at this 2025 team. The defense is one of the best I've ever seen, especially when you have Chet and Isaiah Hartenstein healthy at the same time. There's just so much versatility on the defensive side of the ball, especially when you bring in Alex Caruso, paired it with Lou Dort. Now you have Cason Wallace taking a jump in year 2 and how amazing he is defensively. A great 3-and-D player. A guy like Isaiah Joe, who maybe isn't the strongest defender, but obviously can shoot the ball extremely well. There is just so much depth on this team, and you're led by one of the best guards. I don't want to say is it a stretch to say he's one of the best guards we've ever seen because it's so early in his career?
Well, I think SGA's having one of the best seasons, and I think he's a point guard. He's been playing at his entire career. I think we got to label him as a point guard now. You can argue the best point guard in the league. Like, he's that good, and I think comparing him to that version of Kevin Durant, while that version of Kevin Durant might be a little bit better, I think they pretty much, for the most part, cancel out. Like, I think that's how good SGA is. I feel as if whenever we go back and talk about the younger version of Westbrook, it is always with glowing colors. And I don't feel that way. I thought
Especially
Russell Westbrook was detrimental offensively. He never played like a true point guard because he always took more shots than Kevin Durant when Kevin Durant should have taken more shots. and he was turnover prone. He had very bad moments. He was inefficient. He never could shoot the 3 ball. He was kind of like a knucklehead out there. He's still an all-time great player, but he had clear deficiencies in the playoffs, and his play style led to bad basketball for the most part in playoff environments. The numbers are always going to look good with him. But when you look at the spacing of that 2016 OKC team, it's KD, Westbrook, then you have Roberson, who's a terrible three-point shooter. You have Ibaka, who hadn't developed a three-point shot at that point. You have Steven Adams, who's not a threat from outside. And then you look at their bench, Deion Waiters and Enes Kanter.
I say Deion was probably getting the most burn off the bench outside
Randy
of Kanter.
Foy. Like, you just look at that team, it just kind of was underwhelming. Nick Collison. They were a great team led by star power with KD and Russell Westbrook, and they did beat an awesome Spurs team in that run, and they were up 3-1 against the Warriors, who won 73 games in the regular season. But I feel like people don't give this OKC team the respect they deserve because they haven't won a championship yet. But when we talk about net rating, they're tied number 1 all time with the 96 Bulls. Like, that is what we're talking about here. They could win 70 games this year. I don't think they will. I think they'll finish maybe with 66 to 68 wins overall. But this team is going to finish with that amount of wins with Chet Holmgren pretty much missing the entirety of the season. They have demolished teams. They have blown out just as many teams as that 2016 Warriors team in the regular season. The double digits, they're beating everybody. The Bulls are red hot. They beat them by 30. The Pacers are red hot. They beat them by 20. It really has not mattered. And I just look at that matchup. It's just OKC right now. They have more defenders. They have more shooters. They have more spacing. They have a more conducive offensive system to where I think that team was very flawed. And it was carried by KD and Westbrook. But that team has some major flaws. If we're talking about a series, I mean, come on. You put somebody on Kevin Durant. You put Lou Dort or J-Dub or Chet on KD. You sag off on Westbrook. Okay. You sag off on Robertson.
KD's getting his.
Everybody.
KD's getting his.
Like, KD's going to get his.
It's going to be so easy to help.
But you sag off, and then you fill in the gaps, and you force him to become more of a passer. In that playoff run, I think KD was attempting like 7 threes per game. That's because he wasn't able to get to the basket with the amount of spacing they had. And you look at those early OKC teams, you kind of tip your hat to KD because the type of spacing that he was playing around was some awful, terrible spacing. Mm-hmm. And he was still able to perform at a high level, at an MVP level. So I give a lot of credit to KD, but this team is just better all around, and we're not sure if they're going to win a championship, but if they don't, they're at least making an NBA Finals, in my opinion.
I was going to say, 2016 OKC Thunder didn't win a championship, so he can't be used against them.
No, not at all. I mean, they were up. I think that's the biggest argument they have is the playoff run they went on, right? Being that Spurs team, being up 3-1 on the 73-win Warriors, who ultimately lost, but, you know, look back at history as one of the best teams we've seen even pre-KD. I think that Thunder team was in a like the sweet spot in terms of where they were in like Thunder history, because you have KD before he goes to the Warriors. So everyone still loves KD, right? He's not looked at as a snake. Everyone still loves Westbrook at that time, even with his flaws. I feel like it took until later in his career where people kind of looked at him a bit sideways, even though he was, you know, winning and he was winning MVP. I feel like later on his career, when the NBA 3-point really exploded, and now Westbrook can't shoot, is when he started to get more and more diminished, even though, you know, he's having a great season with the Denver Nuggets, and he's a big reason why they're winning these games. But when you look at today's era, it could take any team. Like, they were attempting the 2016 Thunder. They were attempting 24 threes a game. That would be dead last in the NBA. At the last place is attempting 31 right now. So if we were even talking about a 7-game series, they would just run into such a math problem. And when we're having debates, like when we went on the Bleacher Report a couple of weeks ago and had these debates with OG, it's so difficult, even 10 years ago, not even 9 years ago, to have these debates on current teams versus teams back then, because the game was just played so differently. In no world, even the worst of the worst teams in the NBA right now is going to have a lineup out there with 3 or 4 non-shooters. And there's going to be lineups on that OKC team where you're going to have 3 or 4 non-shooters. So no matter how great KD is, he was phenomenal. But I agree with what Joel's saying. SGA cancels him out at this point, right? I think SGA, since this is, I wouldn't say his first peak season, but he's likely going to win his first MVP. And I feel like this is the first year that people are really giving him like the, oh no, he is like in that class with Nikola Jokic. He is in conversation for best player in the world. He can lead his team to an NBA Finals, although he's had great seasons prior. This feels like the first seasons where it's been stamped for him. So I don't think people are fully around to the player he is. And the fact that he's still so young, the fact that he is as efficient as he is, but more than anything, it's the team around him, right? Like if this Thunder team was just kind of mid, if it was just a middle of the pack team, if it had like SGA with the Bucks roster, for example, I think you can make a bigger argument because that Bucks roster, even though today it has a bunch of shooters, it has some flaws that you'd be able to exploit. But this team, how deep it is, everyone can shoot, everyone can defend. And like you mentioned, Joel, this is a team that lost Chet for a majority of the year, but you're also adding two key pieces to this rotation. Alex Caruso was not on the team last year. Isaiah Hartenstein wasn't on the team last year. And they have been two of the most integral parts to this team, although they've dealt with injuries as well. But you're also adding two pieces to this roster in the offseason, and they haven't skipped a beat. Best net rating in NBA history are tied with them. They have one loss in the entire season against the Eastern Conference. They've dominated the Celtics, at least the first game. Second game was a bit closer, but they still held their own for majority of that game. They've beat Cleveland. Like, there is really nothing this OKC team hasn't done outside of winning a championship. And the same thing with that 2016 team, right? They were great. They didn't win a championship. But when you look at the depth of this team, this current Thunder team, what they can do and what they can do to limit KD and what they can do to limit Westbrook, we're just in a different era. Even though it's only 9 years ago, it's just a completely different era of what you need on a basketball court to succeed, to win a 7-game series, to win a championship. That 2016 OKC team, although you got KD, you got Russell Westbrook, they're not winning a championship in this era, right? They're not coming out of the West in this era. Like, they maybe win a playoff series, but with all the shooting we have now, they would really run into a math problem and a fit problem because it'd be so easy to defend them.
And they don't have any player on the roster that's you're going to have to defend and it's going to change your style. Like, if they had Shaq or something, you're like, okay, you have to guard him a certain type of way. They don't have any front court presence at all. They don't have anybody you can dump it down low to and get a basket. That entire offense was perimeter oriented, which plays into this current OKC's favor. And overall, like, Russell Westbrook, after KD left, he has yet to get out the first round of the playoffs. He had teams with Paul George and Carmelo Anthony, and they lost in the first round. They got embarrassed by the Blazers. Dame outplayed them. And then against the Jazz, they lost to a rookie, Donovan Mitchell.
Good old Joe
and
Ingles.
the numbers always look great for Russ. But when you look, like, there were moments in the Utah Jazz series where you're thinking to yourself, is Ricky Rubio making more of an impact for his team? Like, that's what you're thinking about, because there are moments where he's just so detrimental. So that Russell Westbrook with KD always got rose-colored glasses on with him.
Like, I wonder who's saying this 2016 team's winning, because I feel like it's different. We're talking about
it
like
was
the
just
90s.
A normal post that
got, like,
somebody
old heads.
posted.
But like 2016 is our generation. This is like our people, our age group having these conversations. I don't know. Like, I understand when you got like a 56-year-old guy up there talking about the Bulls or, you know, an old Jazz team or whatever. It's easy for them to look back 30 years ago and it's like, we could do all the research we want. Weren't there, but we were there. We were alive, conscious as us at, you know, like what, 18 years old or whatever. So at least our generation, I don't know how you're taking that team unless you're just a massive KD or Russ fan.
Something that we're going to acknowledge and give credit to in the next topic that we talk about for the Boston Celtics, Oklahoma City has a chance to do the same thing. Oklahoma City's 2 wins away from tying the all-time record for most wins on the road that's held by Golden State currently. And we're going to acknowledge Boston, who has a chance to break that record because you guys have been so overwhelmingly great on the road, but so have they. It does not matter the environment. They understand that even still with the amount of injuries that they've gone through in their own right, in their own way, they're still able to overcome on a night in, night out basis. It's not they're not trying. Let me not say that at all. They're trying to win every single game, but even through all the different lineup changes that they've had to go to, the one constant has been SGA. And they go out there and they ball every single night and they kick the shit out of almost every single team they play.
And that's the biggest competition for OKC, I think, is Boston. Boston, 6-game win streak on the road, 9-game win streak in total. You look at the road wins, Jazz, Blazers, Kings, Suns, Spurs, Grizzlies. You're not that impressed by it because it's a lot of bottom barrel teams, but they're still taking care of business. They've won 7 of these games by double digits, so they're really taking care of business. And I think right now we're at a point with them where, I mean, 1st in offense rate on the season, 7th in defense rate on the season, 3rd in net rate on the season. They just set a franchise record with a 6-0 road trip, and it feels like they're playing their best basketball at the right time. Jason Tatum was quoted after the game saying the playoffs are approaching, and they're getting right, and it seems like it. And what I'm most excited to see this go around is Porzingis finally being healthy. Porzingis 22-8 in this 9-game win streak, playing phenomenal. You have, I think, 7 or 8 players averaging double figures for the Celtics right now. Jalen Brown has only played in 4 of these games, and the Celtics are still pretty much dominating out there.
Dels, I know this is obviously your team, and you're upset that we don't talk about them more. So
back-to-back shows with the Celtics talk. Look at us, man.
I'm gonna rattle off a couple of stats, and then I'm gonna let you go nuts. The Celtics now have 23 double-digit wins on the road. That's one away from tying the 71-72 Lakers for most in NBA history. They've outscored the opposing team on the road by 404 points. That's 26 points away from a mark also set by the same Lakers. Like I mentioned, they have a chance to break the record for most wins on the road. The Warriors were 34-7, and I believe that you guys still have a handful of road games still remaining, so you guys do have a chance to break the record, and if not break it, at least tie the record. You guys have been overwhelmingly great. I've consistently said this all season long. There's not much to say. I'll allow you to say the rest about Boston.
First of all, it's crazy that Boston's never gone 6-0 on a road trip in their history. Like, with all of the great teams that they have, the fact that they never were able to rattle off 6 straight road games. I guess
those other teams didn't have Derek White.
That's true. I guess those old Bill Russell teams didn't have a lot of other teams in the league, right? You probably couldn't play 6 road games to run out of teams. But no, Boston's been amazing, man.
That was a crazy plumber joke.
Well, it's a fact. Like, how many times in the 60s where they had 6 straight games on the road? I do. Bill Russell, I've been watching Celtics.
We're just getting smarter with scheduling, too. I feel like recently, you kind of notice how these road trips go. And instead of coming back home for like a game, they're just like, okay, just stay on the West Coast and keep playing these games. So we don't know how many other moments in history like they've had 6 straight games on the road.
Yeah, it probably happens like once a year, maybe.
Yeah, have you guys noticed that technicals are getting softer and softer?
Why do you say that?
Jason Tatum picked up a technical yesterday.
It was
so soft.
It was Tony Brothers. I feel like he always.
Isaiah Stewart got suspended for 2 games.
That makes sense.
No, it didn't.
He's been on some bull.
He wasn't the aggressor,
but he definitely wanted smoke. It was obvious.
Yeah.
He's
also, I
his
feel
teammate.
like his reputation doesn't help.
That's why I say that too.
Right or wrong?
It's a shame that Isaiah Stewart is known for this because he's such an elite defender.
He's having a great year.
And people don't talk about it enough.
I don't disagree with that.
He changes the way people attack the Pistons.
He is a Piston. Like, he is like what Pistons have been.
Their whole thing has been, we don't like you guys. We're going to go out there and we're going to play bully ball. I mean, I do too.
It's not exactly, but it's very similar to what the Rockets do too. The Rockets have that same type of mentality and energy.
Oh, that's another one that got Tari Eason picked up a BS.
He was like hyping up with his bench.
To be honest, it was a clean move, clean to the basket. Yeah, I'd be talking crazy too.
Celtics. Celtics been awesome, man. I don't really have much to say outside of been awesome, but no, really, I think there's not like one thing that's been different from like what's happening now than what's been happening, or I guess their struggles earlier in the season. I really do feel like, just looking back, having hindsight, they were just getting bored. You know, they were playing some teams that just weren't up to their competition, because like the offense looks the same. I just think the energy and the effort has really been the biggest difference. But I think the scariest part about this, if you're not a Celtics fan looking from the outside, is the Jalen Brown effect, because Jalen Brown has been in and out of the lineup with a knee injury, and when he does play, he's trying to get to the 65-game threshold, which, listen, I respect. Do I think Jalen Brown has a shot at the All-NBA team? I don't think so. But I understand why Jalen Brown thinks he has a chance. He's Jalen Brown. He's had it in the past. He feels like he's playing at that level. So it wouldn't surprise me over these last few games. I think he can only miss one more game to hit the 65-game threshold. So I wouldn't be surprised if he plays some of these games, but he's shooting like 22% from 3. It's been really, really ugly seeing Jalen Brown play when he has been. He's obviously not 100%. Tatum's also been struggling a bit from 3, shooting around 30%. But it's everyone else that's been stepping up in a big way. Derek White, Sam Hauser, Payne Pritchard doing this all year. Then last night, Al Horford, man. I mean, Al Horford still has it in him. I know we saw it in the Lakers game, a month or two ago, that he still has another playoff run in him where he's going to be such a huge contributor. He's going to be such a big impact. The ability for him to move his feet on the perimeter, the ability for him to switch. Of course, he could hit threes. He can knock down threes. Still put the ball on the floor a little bit if he has to. But he was awesome in that game last night. And Tatum even said after, it's like, he's the oldest guy on our team. He's one of the oldest guys in the league, but like we were feeding off his energy tonight because in the beginning of that game, I don't know how much of you guys saw, but the Grizzlies, in the beginning, they were doing their thing. They were up, I think, around 9-10 points at one point. Ja was playing phenomenal. Santi Aldama had himself a great game.
He definitely
did. Zach Edey really struggled in that game, I would say. He struggled when Boston was getting him in pick and roll. He cannot defend on the perimeter. He's just so slow-footed that could be an issue for them in the playoffs. But right now, the Celtics team, I think what you've been looking for when after that kind of, issue right before the All-Star break where they were like around a 500 team for 20 or so games, this is what I think I need to see, number one, even though they won the championship, they get the benefit of the doubt. But
do they get the benefit of the doubt, Dels?
Now they do. Back then, though, I wasn't giving it to them. But this is what I want to see. I want them to, number one, take some part of the regular season seriously. Because I do believe who you are in the regular season is who you are in the playoffs. If you kind of half-ass the regular season, I don't care who you are, it's very difficult to just flip a switch and be like, we're going to go from having losing tendencies to now it's the playoffs. Now we're going to have winning tendencies. Those tendencies get built up in the regular season. So if you're not doing that night in and night out, it's very hard to all of a sudden just figure out ways to win games once you get in the playoffs and the energy and the attention to detail is at an all-time high. So even though they haven't done it against the greatest of competition, just building on those tendencies, making sure that every single game you're going into with an intention to do something and doing it at a high level is really important, I think, if you want to have success in the playoffs. But more than anything, man, these role players have been playing their ass off. I've been, chirping on Luke Kornet for a while now. He's having an all-time great season. He's having an all-time season for Luke Kornet. Sam Hauser's once again shooting above 40% once he struggled early on in the season. And even Xavier Tillman started last night because he played Memphis, which was funny to see. Didn't hit any shots, but a couple of big rebounds. Zach Edey got into foul trouble because of him. But just whoever's up next for Boston, right? That was the game against the Suns when Tatum didn't play. They won by 30. And that game was basically out of hand at halftime. They scored 70 at halftime. And that was the Suns team coming off a 4-game winning streak, looking like they were playing their best basketball. So them as a collective, just their offensive, not only skill set, but just mindset in terms of we're always going to hunt for the best shot. We're not going to settle like we've seen them do in years past. It's been awesome to see. It's been super fun for them to watch. And I'm excited for the playoffs, man. Like, I know we can't skip to the ECF, but that's what I want to do. I want to see us versus Cleveland. I want to see us versus maybe OKC in the finals because that's the biggest competition we've seen. And when I posted that screenshot, those people saying like, oh, you only have 4 losses, but it's against Cleveland and OKC. Teams. It's like, yeah, you're not going to win all of them. But I'm really excited for the playoffs, man, because I feel like this Boston team, they're clicking at the right time. And like you mentioned, Joel, Porzingis is going to be here. And he has been, I think, honestly, at this point, and arguably your second best player, Celtics' second best player, because Jalen Brown has been injured. So I'm really excited to see what he has in store.
Al Horford was drafted in 2007 and is still playing at a high level. We often talk about LeBron's longevity because it's the biggest anomaly, but overall, players have played longer in this era. James Harden, Chris Paul, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Al Horford comes to mind. Mike Conley comes to mind.
Did you say Chris Paul already?
Yeah. Like, there's a lot of players that are still playing at a high level. Russell Westbrook, even, he's aging and he's still contributing. And this is just modern medicine, just being able to take care of your body better. And it's clear that Horford has been able to take care of his body and he's been able to adjust to the new era of the game. He was once a 4, and then he transitioned to being a center. He transitioned to being able to shoot the ball. And he's been with the Celtics in their infancy stage when Isaiah Thomas was leading the team to the first seed in the Eastern Conference Finals. So I feel like Al Horford doesn't get enough credit for having the type of longevity that he has, but he's been in the league for that long, 2007. Like, that's a very long time.
Yeah.
No, I think that with the way that Kristaps Porzingis has been playing recently, Riv joked about it about a month ago, maybe a little bit less. Concept of time gets really wonky sometimes. But he said it, and it's 100% the truth. The difference between a beatable and an unbeatable Boston Celtics is Kristaps Porzingis' health. If he's out there on the court, he is just a mismatch nightmare for the opposing team, especially when he's scoring the basketball the way that he's been scoring as of recent. The way that he's been shooting the basketball essentially all season long whenever he's been on that court. He's been fantastic. But the size that he just allows you guys to play with, especially you can play lineups with both him and Al Horford at the same time because both of them can shoot the basketball at a very efficient level. I look at you guys and I just genuinely struggle seeing you lose unless it's OKC. But even then, I still am going to take the veteranship.
I think the Cleveland doesn't have a chance if KP's healthy.
No.
I think they're just too good.
This is when the Cleveland fans who watch the show are going to be like, Riv, we needed you. John, why?
How many games has KP played against Cleveland this year? Was that the 2 we won?
Well, he played in the game that shot Blue the lead.
Yeah, I know. I thought he missed that game, no?
Drew
was out.
Yeah,
Drew was out.
Yeah, he definitely played in that game.
No, he had the virus.
He did miss that. Oh, no.
Did he? Was it no Drew, no KP?
Yeah, KP missed that game.
Okay.
He played the game on 2-4. I have to check if we won. And I'm just looking at his game log. He played in 2. Oh, he played in 2 of them. I'll check. They won.
He played in the OKC games.
He definitely played in the second one. The first game, I think he actually played in both. The first one he definitely did, and we lost that. The second game he missed.
I was going to say that he was going through that viral situation when you guys did play the good teams.
It's just too many things to account for. I think the Cavaliers' size is going to come back to bite them at the guard position. And we'll see. You know, I think what's been concerning with them is their defense has been slipping. Their defense, they're not an elite top-end defense. They're like 14th in defensive rating post All-Star break. Mm-hmm. So that, to me, is something that I'll look at.
1-1 in games where Porzingis plays.
Okay. So that, to me, is something that I'll look at. And, you know, I don't like that. Like, I feel like they should be better defensively, especially down the stretch. And we see Boston is turning it on at the right time. They played Memphis and they beat Memphis. And this is the new look Grizzlies with Taylor Jenkins fired and stuff. And you look at John Morant's numbers, they look all good, but they're 0-2. And I don't think it was his fault that they lost yesterday. The shooting was just abysmal. They shot 25% from 3. But there was an article that came out this morning that highlighted basically what had happened. And Taylor Jenkins in the offseason, he was asked to basically slash his entire coaching staff, to bring in 2 assistants, which is the current interim head coach, Iasalo, and then it was this other assistant head coach that they brought in as well. And his name, I'm trying to find it right here, his last name is Roche. And basically it was his offensive system that they implemented the entirety of the season. And the offense at first was working. Memphis was one of the best teams in the NBA. Draymond Green complimented the offense because it was something that he had never seen before. But you look at John Morant this year, career low in touches, average touch length, and dribbles per touch. And Kleiman, the GM of the Grizzlies, insisted that Jenkins remove the 5 assistants that he had on the staff to make way for the salary of these 2 new assistants, because their salaries were way up there when we talk about assistant coaches' salaries. So Jenkins, once the Grizzlies started struggling in March around there, he upticked the amount of on-ball screens and dribble handoffs they used, and that's when John Morant started playing better. They went up to 59.8 per game, but they were 6 and 7 when John Morant played post All-Star break. So even leaning into that type of offense didn't get them the best results. We saw the clash that Bane and Aldama had, and I don't think Taylor Jenkins was the perfect head coach, but I think that from the beginning, Memphis had a plan to move on from him, bringing in 2 assistants and telling him to basically gut his entire coaching staff that he had built up with this organization. And John Morant now going from playing off the ball to being in the pick and roll much more and feeling like himself. The interim head coach, Iasalo, he wants to incorporate more on-ball screens to kind of help John Morant find his rhythm. But my gripe with it is I don't think John Morant can be the best player on a championship team. It's hard for a guard to be that number 1. We've only seen that from Stephen Curry, especially at that size being 6'3". But this is another thing. John Morant has a crazy play style that's fun to watch, but he just averages for his career 0.99 points per direct pick and roll as a ball handler in his career when he's using an on-ball screen. That ranks 39th among 56 players to run at least 5,000 on-ball screens as the ball handler since the 1920 season. And he also has a 44.7% EFG on jumpers when coming off on-ball screens in his career.
Not shocking.
Only Russell Westbrook has been worse among 111 players to take at least 750 jumpers when coming an on-ball screen since the 1920 season. John Morant isn't an efficient pick-and-roll ball handler for an offense, so the use of all these on-ball screens when it's really not a consistently efficient source of offense and the lack of jump shooting is a major question mark. I don't think John Morant has gotten better over the last 2 years.
He just hasn't played a lot, but I hear what you're saying.
But
even today, yeah.
He hasn't gotten better. We've been waiting for that jump shot to improve, and it hasn't improved. And I think Memphis, it's clear that John Morant being frustrated with the offense and Taylor Jenkins had a play and had a hand in Taylor Jenkins getting fired. And I just think picking a star player like John Morant over a head coach who's shown you to have success, I'm not even mad that they fired Taylor Jenkins. Just the fact that if this is your direction with John Morant and you're banking on him to reach his potential, I just think you're weighing on something that's not going to happen.
He's changed their franchise, though. That's the reason why I can understand putting the chips in his basket.
What has he changed?
I mean, as soon as he went there, they became a playoff team.
They were a playoff team before then. They just had a rebuilding period for like a year.
Agreed. And then he came and he elevated their ceiling and understanding
but
that
we're not going to talk like we're not going to talk like this franchise was bad. They made the conference finals.
I mean, their ceiling was always very limited.
Their ceiling right now is limited.
And I don't disagree with that, which is why them going to and bringing in these assistants, trying to bring in this new offense, and albeit while they've installed this new offense, John Morant has been playing better, but it hasn't resulted in many wins. You could also pair that with the fact that Jaren Jackson also was coming back from injury and we wasn't playing at 100%. We've seen the ups and downs of Desmond Bane. We've seen the ups and downs of Santi Aldama. I think that this is a team that we've all collectively understood. Let me not say all, because my brother over there, who usually sits there, was very high on him that they could have made a run. We understand that their ceiling is very limited, but this is a team that has a core that has future behind it. John Morant's still very young. Jaren Jackson's still very young. Desmond Bane's still very young. And I can understand the fear of John Morant because of his injury history and, of course, the off-the-court stuff that thankfully hasn't been an issue this year that we don't, knock on wood, we don't have to worry about it from here on out. But we've seen how high he can get to, especially come playoff time. He is a great playoff performer in the limited amount of time that we've seen him there, but he also has raised the ceiling for the Grizzlies. And I can understand you are a small market team. We don't come by John Morant's very often. I'm going to choose the player over a coach. And that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I think John Morant, it's tough. I think Taylor Jenkins' situation is tough too, because I think we all agree that John Morant's probably not going to be the best player on championship team, right? I think number one, it's very difficult to find that, but John Morant's a flawed player, right? It's going to be very hard for a guard to lead a championship team, let alone a flawed guard.
He's not efficient in the pick and roll.
Yeah,
I feel like that's the number one thing you have to be efficient in when you're a point guard.
He's a really good playmaker. It's just the shot selection, I think, is the biggest issue sometimes.
Yeah, and I think part of that could even be his own side because he gets left open a lot. Like there's times where guys are going to sag off because I know if I'm playing up on you, you're going to blow right past me. So he's going to have chances to have open threes. I think both things to be true. Like I don't think John Morant's going to be the best player on a championship team, right? Like I think that's obvious. You do get in a bit of a pickle when you say, all right, we could trade him, but what you can get for John Morant, you're going to become a worse team if you trade John Morant, right? Unless you're banging on hitting some draft picks. I don't know what player you're going to get in return that makes you a better team. Mm-hmm. The Taylor Jenkins thing is interesting too, because I do think Taylor Jenkins is a really good coach. But I also think there's levels for players in terms of like, are you a championship contender or championship? Can you be the best player on a championship team? I think the same thing goes for coaches, right? Like I think we've definitely seen coaches in the past that are great, phenomenal regular season coaches, are great in the first round. They're great at developing, but they're also not that coach to take you over the top, right? Whether you look at Mark Jackson, JB. Tibbs has gotten talked about that before. JB Bickerstaff's got talked about that before, where you set a baseline and foundation for a team, but you're not able to take that team from you've built this great culture, you've built this great unit, but there's an obvious ceiling on it, right? And who knows? I think it's a lot easier to realize when a player isn't good enough to be on a championship team. I feel like it could be more difficult to realize that for a head coach, especially this Grizzlies team that's been so banged up over the last couple of years. All the stuff that's going on with John Morant, you've been missing your best player. But Taylor Jenkins could have also been that same boat where this is kind of what you're getting with Taylor Jenkins, where he's a great coach, but is he ever going to be one of those coaches that we're looking at like, oh yeah, he's the reason why this team went from a second round playoff team to all of a sudden they can win an NBA championship?
Now, I don't disagree with what you're saying. In NBA Finals, winning the championship, that's a big expectation. I don't think John Morant can win multiple playoff series and get to the conference finals. I don't think he can do that.
I mean, he came close.
He's still young.
Right?
I think that when you don't have a jump shot, it's fair to say the things that you're saying. And he doesn't have that on a consistent night in, night out basis. But with his upside, with his athleticism, with his ability to get downhill, with his playmaking attribute, I think that it's on him to get better and improve his one strong deficiency. But the thing is, it's hard to just out of nowhere pick up a jump shot. I think that he has the trait that's harder to come by, which is the elite athleticism, the elite ability to get downhill. If he can just put the time in to improve his jump shot, I think that his ceiling is still one of the best guards in the game. He is still one of the best guards in the game.
But it hasn't improved in 6 years.
And I think that's fair. I also think that his ability to stay on the court has not been at its highest.
Well, that's another flaw in him. It's not only that he's a flawed player, but he's also doesn't stay healthy.
I think that you take this year with a grain of salt. We know we're moving off of Taylor Jenkins. It doesn't, if we're the organization, we're going to move off Taylor Jenkins. We don't think that he could be the future guy for our team to reach that next level. We have these assistants that we really believe in. We have these 3 players that we really believe can be a strong core for us in John Morant, Desmond Bane, and Jaren Jackson. Jaren Jackson, who's proved to get better every single year. Desmond Bane proving to be one of the better 3-and-D options, one of the better third options in basketball. And we have John Morant, who's shown come playoff time, he can elevate his level of play. The concern with these guys are they've been injured. However, if we can keep these guys on our team, if we can have a new direction offensively, if John Morant can stay on the court, we have a chance to really maximize our opportunity. I just think it's on Ja, it's on Jaren to stay on the court.
Jaren Jackson Jr. has lapped John Morant. He is the most important player for that Grizzlies organization right now. I think that is the player they want to build around the most.
I understand
because
your
of his
sentiment.
offensive development.
I understand
and
your
what he offers on defense.
I don't think he's their most important.
He is.
You could say, how do I say this? It's kind of comparing Mobley to what he means to the Cavaliers. We understand that Donovan Mitchell's their best player, but Evan Mobley, you could argue, is their most impactful because of what he brings on the defensive side.
John Morant's not Donovan Mitchell.
I want to say he is because, again,
he's not.
It's hard to come by that athleticism. It's hard to come by that playmaking.
But I'm looking.
He is.
I'm not
but
looking
early
at the
on
traits.
in his
I'm looking
career,
at the
Donovan
production.
wasn't this elite 3-point shooter. He
like
had
by
that.
Year 6. No,
I understand, but again,
Donovan Mitchell was never a liability from 3. You don't leave him open.
No, he was.
You leave John Morant open, and
early
you
in his
live with 3
career,
for
he
10.
was shooting 34, 35%, which, but not
on tough shots and volume.
Agreed, and I think that John Morant, he forces himself into some bad opportunities as well.
Players are still going under on screens on him,
which
they're
makes
not.
sense.
They're not respecting him as a
makes
shooter.
Sense.
To be fair to Ja, in that Warriors series, he played 3 games. He averaged damn near 40.
But
I hear you out. I also don't think
Yes.
he's the guy to take you to an NBA Finals. But the last time he was in the playoffs, he was in that setting in the second round. He balled his ass off.
Of the 2 players whose ceiling is higher, it's John Morant, which is why I look John Morant and Jaren.
If Jaren keeps developing like this offensively, it's him.
I just want to finish this thought. John Morant has shown at his ceiling that he can be on a, let me not say on the level because he's never going to be on that Steph Curry level, but he can perform tit for tat with him. He showed that in a playoff series. He was really going there. He was playing that well. Agreed. He was giving that Warriors defense, which was probably the best, if not second best, at the absolute worst that season defensively, especially when Draymond was healthy. We know his ceiling of what it can be. I think Jaren has gotten better year by year. And I can acknowledge where you're coming from because Jaren has been so reliable for them and he's shown that he's going to put the work in. I think that the high of John Morant is the most important to the Grizzlies because if he can be that, then they can reach their ceiling. If he never reaches that, then the Grizzlies are always going to be stuck in limbo.
I don't think it's the most important to the Grizzlies because this entire year in the offseason was to change their offense to move away from John Morant. And that was an organizational decision. They forced Taylor Jenkins to change the offense. It was the assistant coach's offense that was this offense.
But it hasn't changed the results.
But this is where I was going to...
of the Grizzlies.
He's right.
Like, the Grizzlies all of a sudden aren't a championship contender. We don't look at them, at least, Riv did, but I don't think any of us look at them as a conference
They were just
finals
healthy
team.
and they were winning games.
They're a scrappy first-round team that could win a series.
It didn't change the results, but it's also in due part to the John Morant being unreliable and unhealthy. And I look at every year the Grizzlies have been healthy and they've been great in the regular season. What have they always had? What has always been their flaw? It's been their half-court offense. Yeah. You have a point guard who's a ball-dominant point guard who doesn't generate you good half-court offense. And I think the organization this offseason, I think this entire situation is muddy because it's the organization, they did go to Taylor Jenkins and they did tell him to slash his coaching staff. Mm-hmm. This was the offense of the assistant, not the current interim head coach, the other assistant. Mm-hmm. And now you fire Taylor Jenkins because he went away from that system and started using more pick and rolls, but they only went 6 and 7 when he started doing that. And I don't think Taylor Jenkins should be the Grizzlies head coach. I think if they moved on from him, that's fine. I don't think it's that big of a deal, even though he did a lot for the development of the young players on that team and they moved into a different era. But you have two coaches now that are clearly shifting to a different offensive philosophy. Their current interim head coach is pick and roll heavy. Their other coach likes to take advantage of space and moving without the ball and not dribbling. And that led to John Morant having the lowest touches this year. And that was an efficient source of offense, but then teams figured it out and teams started knowing how to guard it. But that led to Jaren Jackson having his best offensive season. And I'm looking at how the Grizzlies have made organizational decisions. Their actions show me that they're not even bought in long-term on John Morant. John Morant is the most marketable star they have. It's one of the biggest stars that they've ever had in Memphis. But with that being said, the on-court productivity, until he improves as a player, that he is still, I think right now, he is expendable for them.
I mean, I think realistically, their issue is they have two number twos. I don't think John Morant's number one. I don't think Jaren's number one. The thing is, the issue that comes up with this is, at some point, you probably make a choice, especially because the other thing we didn't talk about is Jaren Jackson. Well, he's not going to win D4, it looks like. He would have been eligible for the biggest contract in NBA history, but it looks like he won't be that, so maybe scrap that. But it's going to be very difficult to build a team around John Morant as your number two. This is a guy that's just going to have the ball in his hands too much for him to be a number two on offense. You don't want him off ball because he's not going to be able to shoot. But on the other hand, if let's say you do move off John Morant and Jaren Jackson's your guy now, I don't know what you think Jaren Jackson's ceiling is offensively. I don't view him as a guy that's like you're running your offense through him, although he's been super efficient this year. You know, he's near 60% true shooting, shooting the three ball the best of his career and everything like that. But now your issue becomes, all right, who's our number one? I think a lot of teams have this issue when you have a couple of number twos. We'll see what happens with Cleveland this year, especially too, because I feel like they could be in a similar mold, although I trust Donovan Mitchell a lot more in his jump shooting than I do John Morant. But yeah, I think Jaren Jackson has shown this year, and I think he needed to show it too, because his offensive game, not that it didn't develop, because it has been developing, but this is the first year, or I should say it's been developing at a pace once you include this year where you have a lot more faith in what he can be on offense. But I still don't completely believe, I don't feel strongly either way, truthfully, because I think both of these guys are not franchise stars. But what Jaren gives you defensively, being able to be a defensive player of the year caliber, being able to switch on the perimeter, being able to protect the rim, I would understand choosing him over Ja, because Ja's just going to be really difficult to build around the long term if he's not able to improve his jump shot.
The last thing I'll say, I think their half-court offense was bad. I also think that it was also in due part to their lack there of shooting. When they acquired Luke Kennard, it was a big deal. That was a big deal because he immediately became their best three-point shooter next to Desmond Bane. They really didn't have three-point shooting, and maybe I don't know if that's even the case even this season. Like, they have players that obviously can shoot the three ball, and I think that obviously Jaren taking a step into improving his three ball, obviously Desmond Bane being healthy, Jalen Wells. I think that there's players that can shoot the three ball on this team, but in years past, one of the main reasons why they struggled in half court was because they lacked shooting.
We've seen point guards in other offensive situations with not the best space and still generate good offense.
See, but he is still averaging 27. In that season, shot 34% from three. This is when you thought that we were seeing the trajectory to improve as a jump shooter. The year following drops to 30%, but still averages 26 a game. John Morant has shown that he can be that. It's this season. He's working back from missing a full season. This is a down year. No doubt about it. That's an obvious statement. Shooting less than 30% from three. He's shooting less than 45% from the field. I understand. I think that John Morant, in my opinion, gets a pass. They were still winning basketball games while he was struggling. If I'm a Grizzlies fan, I'm happy he's on the court for a majority of games this season.
It's also his first year in 2 years, basically.
That's what I'm saying. I think that we need to give him some grace, We've seen how high he can get to. I'm not going to write him off after one season of being his worst since early on in his career. But he's shown that he can be a high-level scorer. He's shown that he can be a great playmaker. It's just going to be a matter of getting back to that on a consistent basis, which, to your point, he's failed to show this season.
He can have great individual stats. I care about what the team offense generates.
But the team itself had a bad offense, just not great offensive personnel outside of him, and then Bane, who really ascended in year 2, and Jaren, who was inconsistent as an offensive player early on. So what's your
explanation for this year being the year they had the most efficient offense without Ja dominating the ball?
No, you got to give acknowledgement that, one, he has struggled, and two, the rest of the guys around him have definitely elevated their play. And they were hoping that Ja being back would give them that boost, and unfortunately, he hasn't given them that.
Because I look at Trae Young, who with the Hawks has never had the best situation. He's always generating the most potential assists in the league. He doesn't even have the best spacing right now, and he still always generates a great offense.
Yeah, I think, okay, if you're Memphis, right, you're living this world where Jaren's your guy, he's your piece you're building around. You move off Ja Morant. What does that look like?
I'm not moving off of Ja Morant.
Oh, okay. What are we doing?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that I'm moving off of Ja Morant. What I'm saying is that I think there's a clear ceiling, and I think right now he has become expendable for Memphis.
Isn't there a ceiling with Jaren too?
Yeah, but Jaren, he's a two-way guy.
I think we're looking at this year's ceiling. This year, Jaren, to me, it's his ceiling. And that's not a knock. I think that's a great player. I think that's a fringe All-NBA player, truthfully. Yeah. He's been amazing. I think that this version of what we're seeing of him being one of the best defenders in the league, mixed with being a really good, to some nights, a great offensive player, this is who Jaren Jackson at his best can be. And if I'm being honest, this version of Jaren Jackson's way better than I ever thought we'd get, especially 2 years ago. And last season, I give him a lot of credit because he was one of the few that actually was healthy for the Grizzlies, and he really ascended last season. I wanted to see that carry over into this year. He got better from last year, but marginally. He's still great. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing.
He's doing it on a team that's winning.
Correct.
It's not a bunch of BS around him.
I think that's really what it is, that they're winning basketball games, and he's continuing to play at this high of a level. What we just were anticipating was Ja to translate. Also, want to make sure that I'm being fair. The Grizzlies are slightly above average shooting the three ball this season. They rank 12th in three-point percentage, which is pretty solid. They're shooting around 36% from three. That's fair for them this season, no doubt. But this is the first year in a while that they've had three-point shooting, or I should say mainly in the Ja Morant era, which is why, to your point, it's fair to wonder, when are you going to be the guy that elevates? Mm-hmm. I think that he's just shown in the past that he's a lot better than what he's been this year.
My thing is, I think Ja has become expendable for Memphis, and if this was a decision, because I still have doubts that this decision was driven by Ja, because I think this was an organizational thing. I think they clearly had a pathway of how they wanted to move forward. And for an organization like Memphis that has been on the cutting edge of analytics, they are a huge analytics organization. Ja Morant is not analytics friendly. You have a franchise star that your organization's entire philosophy is kind of against the way this star has his production. Mm-hmm. You know, the great numbers, but the offense isn't there to match that production that he is producing at an individual level. Yep. So I think this entire thing is, we're talking about Taylor Jenkins, but I think the underlying thing of all this is that Ja Morant has become expendable. And that doesn't mean they're going to trade him right away, but it does mean that he is somebody that they're looking at, mm-hmm. and they're saying, okay, we got to find different ways on how to improve this roster. And maybe he's not this untouchable player for our organization that we once thought that he once was. And you have to take into account the injury history, the level of play, the regression. I'm not even talking about the off the court stuff. I'm just talking about his on court play and the injuries. That's basically it. And you got to know if you can rely on this guy to, I'm not talking about the finals. Can you consistently be a team that gets out the first round, that maybe gets to the conference finals? Right now, the way we look at Memphis, every team in the West is looking at Memphis like, we hope we played them in the first round. Mm-hmm. We hope we got Memphis because they feel like they can beat them.
Yeah, I mean, they also post All-Star break have just fallen off such a cliff, right? Especially defensively, that I feel like before that, the sentiment wouldn't have been the same. But they have gone on this, month and a half stretch, damn near 2 months at this point, where they have not been playing their best basketball. So, yeah, I mean, the Western Conference, even coming into this year, I I still feel like they probably overachieved where I thought they would be. I probably had them as like a play-in, maybe 7 seed. The fact that they've been dropping recently. They could screw around and be a 7 seed still, but the fact they've been this good for this long in the regular season is still impressive. But I think they get one more year. Ja gets one more year where he has this year coming back. Everything, he's had the injuries, the off the court stuff. You get one more summer. If you could prove to us you could be a 34% three-point shooter again, and we could win a playoff series next year, we could recalibrate. But if it's the same thing next year, especially because you're probably going to have the same coach, I doubt they're going to move off this assistant since they paid him so much money and probably in the back of their mind thought Taylor Jenkins doesn't work out. You know what I mean? But I think they get one more year with Ja.
If the offer was on the table, 1-for-1 swap Ja for Zion, are you doing it?
I don't know. Is that very conducive for the Grizzlies?
So what's that starting 5?
It's Scottie Pippen Jr., Desmond Bane,
Wells.
Santi. Wells or Santi, Zion, and Jaren.
Yeah, maybe he plays the 5.
And I don't know. Is Jaren a 5 to you?
No, but even then, you could. I think Zion could play the 3 too.
I'd probably do the
I'll
trade.
be honest with you.
Man, I don't know.
That's
maybe.
nasty.
The lineup is kind of gross.
I like Scottie Pippen Jr. too. I want that out
I
there.
mean, Bane and Jaren could shoot.
But who's handling the ball? Like, who's
Zion.
their lead point guard? Okay,
Zion.
you're talking to me. I get it.
You are losing playmaking. I think that's the biggest issue.
Would you do it though? Because I mean, the injury history
I think
for
player
both.
for
The injury
player,
for Zion
yes,
is much worse.
It is, but they both have some injury concerns. Ja's also just a very kind of fragile, skinny guard who does all these highlights.
You know who wouldn't like that? Grizzlies fans. They would not be happy.
They love
Why?
Ja.
Ja is their guy. They love Ja.
I mean, sure, yeah. Talking about like what makes them a better basketball team though.
I think Ja Morant is still a fine player. I'm not giving up on
You
him.
did the half court.
That has
offense
nothing to do with
gets better or
Zion.
worse with Zion and Ja.
I think
It
it's
gets
better
better.
with Zion.
It gets better.
Zion, that's not a home run lock.
Zion this year is 4th in PER.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Zion is sex.
No, Zion's great. I just worry about what that playmaking looks like.
He can play make.
He cannot at Ja's level.
Yeah, but that hasn't led to
Let's
offense.
say Ja Morant. Let's say Ja Morant's an A. Let's just say he's an A.
Mm-hmm.
Zion might be like a B-.
Yeah,
B.
but yeah.
So you do
It's just
it.
I feel like that's a team that lacks playmaking as is.
That's
You know what I mean? Because their half court offense doesn't
not
great.
insane.
Ja's
No, it's not
their
wrong.
best playmaker by far, and who's their second best?
Scotty.
What was your question?
Yeah, but he does something more efficient than Ja, which is driving and finishing at the basket.
Scotty.
No, Zion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like Ja's best trait, Zion does that
I
better.
mean, to be fair, he better do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean it's
got
Zion.
100 pounds.
But so you would do the trade?
I
Like
think
if
I
it was
would.
on the table,
I think I would.
you do it?
I'm a Zion guy. I obviously would rather Zion, but I don't know if the Grizzlies would do it. There's too much risk involved.
Yeah, I'm not asking. I'm asking you if you'd do it, not the Grizzlies.
If I'm running the Grizzlies, I'm probably saying no.
Okay. Is that like a cop out?
No.
So if you're running the Grizzlies, so
Yeah, if I'm running the
surprised.
Grizzlies, I'm saying
With how
very
high
surprised.
you're on Zion
Zion
Williamson,
is a legend.
so why wouldn't you do it because of the marketing behind it?
Literally.
So but you think
And
you're a
also,
better
it's a
basketball team
strong
with
risk.
Zion?
It's a strong risk.
But do you think you're a better basketball team with Zion?
It's
Yeah.
a risk keeping Ja Morant in your team.
Yes, I do think you're a better team. Zion, he's
So
better.
if you're a better team, you still wouldn't do it?
Because of the risk that Zion will miss, and now I have nothing.
I don't know. It's a risk on both sides, I think.
But Ja, he's missed 1 year. He's missed 1 year.
With injury sign.
Yes.
Yeah, because off the court. Yeah.
he's missed like 1 full year, yeah, but in the playoffs, he got hurt in the playoffs.
He got hurt.
Every
and
time
he
he's been in
was
the playoffs.
a legend.
He's missed
honestly.
some time this year too. He's only
He
played
played through the
45
Lakers
games.
shit though,
Yeah, but he got hurt in it.
and he
though.
still played. He kind of shot the ball well.
But he missed time this year. I don't know. Ja Morant doesn't. I think he's shown
like
this,
the Zion injury
he's
stuff
not
is
the healthiest
worse,
guy in
but
the
I
world.
think there's still
Is Zion better than Ja?
Ja.
Yeah, he is. Is he a risk if you're trading your best player for him? Yeah.
But the opposite end is you stick out with Ja Morant. Let's say next year Zion's healthy and he plays. I'm not going crazy. Let's say he plays 62 games.
He'll be better.
Next season, if Ja Morant does this again, you probably that trade offer's not on the table.
No, I'm with you. I agree.
Yeah, I'm just asking. Like, I mean, do you think the ceiling of the basketball team's higher with Zion?
I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah, the risk is higher too, but
Oh
I
my
mean,
God.
the ceiling is higher
At
too.
some point, you gotta take a shot. You gotta take a shot because they have the team. They have depth. They've a coaching staff. I know Jenkins isn't there, but
say-
a coaching staff that's shown they could develop.
Can you argue their shot was firing Taylor Jenkins?
Maybe.
This is
Yeah,
their gamble.
They're hoping this is their version of the Cavaliers with Kenny Atkinson.
Because it shocked every single person in the basketball community that he got fired.
Yeah.
You think that the Grizzlies are more hesitant than the Pelicans in the trade? I think like if I'm the Pelicans, I'd probably say no.
I think that's another part of it too.
Like the Grizzlies, I would be more inclined to say yes. The Pelicans, I'd be like, I don't know.
The Pelicans is tough because we've talked about a lot of Zion Williamson trades. There hasn't been a lot where you're getting a player of Ja Morant back.
No.
So that's the other side where you can still get a superstar back for a team that, if they're healthy, maybe they could be something. They could be a playing team in the West, right? I like their role players, but this is probably one of the only trades where we're talking about someone that when everything starts to all on.
I was gonna say, are you getting a player like Ja Morant for Zion Williamson right now?
Like when you say, like when you have the offer, like the trade offers, and then the graphic says like who says no.
Yeah.
I think the Pelicans say no. I think it's more likely that they say no.
I'm not gonna disagree with you. Zion's better than Ja Morant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. If the Grizzlies, or excuse me, the Pelicans are looking to move off Zion, you think it's for like just total rebuild, just get us picks?
Like another thing, like
They're ready to
with
rebuild.
the Spurs
I think
trading,
being just as good.
the Spurs trading Kawhi to Toronto for DeMar DeRozan. Like, and that was just a graphic prior to the season ending, prior to the trade. Would anybody have been like, Spurs say yes? No.
They were in a bad position though. Kawhi wanted to go.
I don't
They
know.
were.
I could see the Pelicans front office.
Zion
convincing
could be like,
themselves.
I want to go too.
But
and
Zion has not said anything like that.
he has been quiet. Because
But you got to think, if you're in the Pelicans front office, Zion's been someone that's been mostly unavailable when he's played. He's been awesome, but you're also going to be moving off your number 1 overall pick. That this is supposed to be the AD replacement. If you get Ja back, at least that's putting butts in seats. You could sell the season tickets. That's giving you kind of the other side of the business. That if you trade Zion for nothing, nobody's going to no Pelicans game. Shout out to Trey Murphy and Herb Jones, but you're not filling up season tickets with that.
Maybe if they get Cooper Flag. No, but I think you know both
They
disgruntled
can't get three
stars.
number one. They can't get Zion, AD, and Cooper Flag.
Let's talk about a real idea in Jalen Green, who he got benched in the fourth quarter, and it's
Ridiculous.
It's crazy
It's not
because
the first time it's happened.
because guess who got minutes? Fred VanVleet.
You hate Fred.
I'm going to throw the fuck up. And I'm sorry for ruining this segment early on with my cursing. Dude, he is useless on offense. Oh, he can play make. Oh, he can handle the ball. Oh, I don't give a rat's ass. You shot 2 for 14. You did nothing down the stretch. You could have got benched too.
he could have, but it was Jalen Green who got benched.
And at least he gives you a chance to put the ball in the basket. Like, at least he's trying.
He's coming off a pretty good March. He had 33.
He is, absolutely.
And then he just like didn't play well against the Lakers. He shot 4 for 13. He only had 9 points. He did other things. He had 9 rebounds and 5 assists.
His playmaking is a lot better than people give him credit for. It's not amazing. It's a lot better than what people give him credit for.
It's improved throughout the season. I think one, even if you think Fred VanVleet is worse, you know,
Dude,
he's a worse
bottom
player.
3 contract in the league.
Well, he's on an expiring deal.
He is.
It's a club option that he does have.
I don't know. I think it's a.
It's a club. I looked it up prior to
That
the
means
show.
the team owns it.
Correct.
Yeah.
So if I'm them, see you later.
Well, you can
Yeah, so
accept it to
it's
make a
expiring
trade.
deal.
You still gave him $40 million.
They had to.
What are we doing?
Well,
had
them
to.
doing
They
that
had no
was good
choice.
though.
He was good last year. Better,
Yeah.
I should say.
Them doing that
He
was good. I mean, they needed veterans and they got them and they
needed
changed the culture.
They needed to pay somebody. They were under the salary floor.
Like,
they had no choice.
I understood down the stretch, letting Tari get minutes, letting Jabari get minutes. Jabari had the hot hand. He was really playing well last night. We're going to keep Fred in the game? Why?
Yeah, I think Jalen Green. This isn't the first time I've seen Ime do this. I've seen other games where
He's
Jalen
benched
Green.
Alperin too. at
Yeah, and
moments.
that's
Fair.
kind of Ime's thing. But I think it's really tough because that was a game that, I mean, they were under 100 points. Did they finish the game with under 100?
Yes.
Right, it was 90.
I think it was like 101 to 99, something like that.
I
I
mean,
think it just kind of shows that Ime still doesn't really trust Jalen Green. I mean,
doesn't,
His
but-
defense was also pretty terrible last night.
and that's
too.
going to get you benched if you're on Ime's team.
Yeah.
But I think at another point, too, Ime has to get out of his own way
104,
because 98. So they were struggling to score. I mean, Rockets aren't this prolific offensive teams. You know how they're winning games. It's by defense, getting out in transition. But at some point, I do think Ime could get in his way at times, trying to either prove a point, or especially for young players, guys like you mentioned, like aren't always playing hard on defense. But you also got to realize what you have out there. You need Jalen Green out there, right? Like there's a reason why the last possession or second last possession, when you need a 3-point shot, Jalen Green was out there because he is your best shooter. He is your best guy in terms of go and get a bucket. And for that game last night where it was in the balance, like you had a real chance to go out there and win that game. Instead, you had Dylan Brooks doing fadeaway jump shots and contested threes. There was some really ugly offense in that game last night.
I promise you, Jalen Green can throw a fader up and make it look nonsensical.
Yeah, and
I think in that game specifically, Jalen Green's shot selection was really bad. It was terribly bad.
What are we doing? Dylan Brooks gets a pass because he weirdly he's one of their best 3-point shooters. Yeah, statistically, 40, he's damn near their best.
He played better last night too, and his defense was really.
He was fucking thrusting it on LeBron. It was crazy.
Yeah, Dylan Brooks has been really good for them this year.
But the shot selection that he gets away with sometimes really is crazy. But it's always been like that for his entirety, the entirety of his career. He has this weird green light where he'll just be able to throw up the most random shots.
Because on defense, he's gonna guard his ass off. So coach is like, I
think with
he was
Green,
bad down the stretch as well.
He took some really bad.
The
shots.
shot selection with Jalen Green, in the third quarter, dribbling to the sideline, stepping back for three, contested over two people, there's just moments where Jalen Green just takes really some ill-advised shots where there's moments where he can maybe drop to the basket and get an easier look. I think Ime still doesn't really trust him. And when looking at just their 5-man lineups, their lineups are most effective when Green is off the court, when it's a man at the 2, and then you have Şengün with Brooks and a variation of either Tari or Jabari and Fred at the 1. That's their most efficient lineups overall. I just look at Jalen Green, and I don't know when he's going to put it together, but he needs to. Because this is a player that it feels like if you grab different parts from his best moments, this is a really great player. But in totality, like Todd Jerome mentioned, who you are as a player is who you are, the sum of your average. Mm-hmm. And the sum of Jalen Green's average has kind of just been an inefficient player. And yeah, if you get his scoring from January and his playmaking from March and his defense from December and his all of this stuff, okay, maybe you get an all-star player. But it's true. They still clearly don't really trust Jalen Green, and when he's out there, it's just inefficient offense unless he's on a heater, and that comes every so often. But they need him to be much more consistent than what he's been. This is why the Rockets, even with being one of the top seeds in the Western Conference, we know that they're a first-round exit waiting to happen unless somebody has a nuclear series.
I genuinely cannot wait for next season, when Fred's off the team, a men's running the show, and you can just be a fast break transition team that is just more athletic than everybody, minus Şengün. I genuinely look forward to that. I really, maybe it's a personal problem. Maybe it's because Fred's shooting under 40% from the field. Maybe it's because he was supposed to be a great 3-point shooter and he's shooting under 35%. Maybe because Jalen Green's shooting a more efficient clip from both the field and from 3. And I feel like that's something to be fair to Fred. Jalen should be better at scoring the basketball than him, especially in this point of his career. I just can't with what Fred is paid to do for the lack thereof. That's really what bothers me. But I think that what you're saying, Joel, for the most part is fair. It is an inconsistency issue with Jalen Green. There's some nights where he looks like Kobe reincarnated, and then there's some times where he's the worst player on the court. And I think that's the bummer of Jalen Green and the fan club that is the Jalen Green one. But I think that overall, he still is young. He still has a lot to grow with in his game. And I think that this game last night is a lesson for him to give full effort on the defensive side, because that is how you stay on the court. Obviously, like some of the other players that are on the Rockets that get minutes over him sometimes. But overall, I'm still on the Jalen Green wave. I still believe in him. I still think that he has the ability to grow as a scorer in this league. It's just fixing the little things. Shot selection. I think that's always going to be at the forefront when it comes to Jalen, whether it is getting downhill like he does, and he doesn't have an efficient clip, or settling for a mid-range from a time or two, not shooting double-digit threes in a game and you're only making 1 or 2 of them, because that's when you do get taken off the court. But for a majority, we see him play at a slightly above average level for a majority of the games. It's just the bad nights are really bad.
Yeah. They're 10-9 without Frederico this year.
Okay.
It's good, 500.
I mean, they're better with him.
Looking at their cleaning the glass numbers,
it's always going to get a little bomb here for this.
Şengün is plus 6.4 differential. He has the best point differential on the team. Steven Adams is number 2. 6.2. It makes sense.
He did work last night.
Yeah,
the amount of offense rebounds he gets is insane. Fred VanVleet is 3rd at plus 3.1. 4th is Aaron Holiday at plus 2.6. 5th is Jabari Smith at plus 2.4. 6th is Tari Eason at plus 1.3. Then it's Jayshawn Tate at plus 1.1.
You know, you haven't heard yet.
Then it's Amen Thompson at plus 0.2. Dylan Brooks is at minus 2.8. Jock Landale is at minus 5.6. And then Jalen Green's at minus 9.1. He is the second worst on the team, only ahead of Jeff Green right now.
I get it.
It's tough because I do think, I don't know, I think Ime has this, obviously we know he's a hard-nosed coach, and this is part of just maybe him trying to be tough on Jalen Green and trying to teach him things. But I also think he has to recognize that part of growing is also going through it. And when you have a team that is going to make the playoffs, right, they could end up as the second seed, right? They're second seed right now. I do think it's beneficial to still have Jalen Green out there because he is going to give you the best chance to win these games. Even when he's having these terrible games, because Jalen Green, we've seen games where he has been terrible and he could still hit some BS shots because that's kind of the player he is. He's going to take a lot of tough shots. He's going to take acrobatic shots. He's going to hit pull-ups. He's going to miss pull-ups. But when you are so offensively limited as Houston is, you need Jalen Green for better or for worse. And I think the way you say about how teams are looking at Memphis and saying, like, if we had to play somebody, I'd like to play Memphis.
If they got the Rockets.
I think the Rockets are different just because of their attitude and the way they play. And between Amen Thompson and Dylan Brooks and Steven Adams, this is a team that is going to talk shit the whole time. They're going to be in your face. They're going to be hard. They're going to be playing hard on defense. But you need Jalen Green's upside. Even with the ups and the downs, you need Jalen Green's upside in the playoffs. Because I cannot see a world where, I see the world where you bench him in the playoffs, but I do not see a world where you're benching Jalen Green in the playoffs and you win a playoff series. It's still going to be tough to win a playoff series with him, but the world where the Rockets make some sort of run, whether that's winning one playoff series or something insane happens, they win two and makes it a WCF, even though it's unlikely, it's because of Jalen Green. Because we know defensively, they're going to be there every single night. We know Ime, technically is going to be there with basically all of the other coaches in the Western Conference. But it's really what Jalen Green's going to give you. Is he going to be a guy that we saw in March be mostly efficient and they'll have a couple off games, mostly be a good player? Or is he going to be like we saw last night? If he's giving you 70 to 80% of those good games, he has to be out there. And I know it's easy when he is playing well, but it's those games where he's not playing well. That's when he still needs to be out there because you just don't have enough offense right now to be hoping on Fred VanVleet, or even though Amen Thompson can do some amazing things because how quick and explosive he is. It's in those last few minutes where you need to find a jump shot. You need to get to the rim. You need Jalen Green to do that. And I think it's just going to take away from him, especially this specific season when the Rockets have a chance to host a playoff series.
It's just like 51-49 now. With his just a consistent or like good, bad. It's like kind of 50-50 with him.
Let me ask you guys a question. If Jalen Green is the best version of himself in the playoffs, is it nuts of me to say their ceiling is the WCF?
Yes.
If he's the best version of himself?
Yes.
So you're telling me they come into to the playoffs. They're second seed right now. They come into the playoffs with one of the best defense in the league. They get to avoid OKC. And now you have your best offensive player playing like your best offensive player.
They could beat the Lakers.
They might.
No.
Jalen Green played like absolute doo. It was a 6-point game and it came down to the wire.
Lucas shot poorly. Okay. LeBron shot poorly. He was missing layups.
That's the Houston Rockets defense.
Nah, bro. It was LeBron was just missing easy bunnies.
We scored 104 points.
LeBron was missing easy bunnies that he should make. There was a moment where Şengün contested him and LeBron missed the shot.
I think second round's probably their ceiling.
Did LeBron really miss?
Yeah, he missed one wide open layup. Like he should have made it. He blew right past Fred VanVleet, and with his left hand he just missed
Smoked it. He's due for one of those. It's just random out of nowhere. I'll say this: if that's the version of the Rockets that the Lakers are going up against, the one that this is a theoretical world where Jalen Green is January, February of last year version, no team wants to play that version of the Rockets.
I don't disagree. It's just you probably have to beat two of like Golden State or the Lakers or Denver.
Outside of the Grizzlies, I don't think they'll beat any. I don't think they beat the Clippers.
With the way that,
tough too.
All right.
Because then you got to...
Where we stand right now, I agree. I think they're a first-round exit.
You got to take into account Kawhi.
If Jalen Green is on, so you're telling me we have a top 2, top 3 defense top 2 in the West. We have now an offensive player that we can rely on.
There's just no world he's on for the whole series.
No,
it's just like, is he on for 50% or for 75%?
The whole playoff run, Jalen Green is a dog.
They beat the Clippers?
Yes.
If Jalen Green is the Jalen Green where he's 25
they were in a
and 9
fucking
on great
dogfight with the
efficiency.
Magic last night, all right, pal?
The Clippers on the road, yeah, they got the win, though.
On the road in Orlando.
And Orlando is a gritty defense. They just don't have any offense.
It showed last night
They're
the way that Kawhi
They're going to
struggled.
make it tough.
I mean, to be fair, y'all lost to Orlando.
Not Cook. We actually lost both games to Orlando. I respect the Clippers. I definitely do. I don't know. There's something I can't buy in on.
See it.
Can't buy in on it.
They haven't been looking great. I've been wanting to backtrack my statement, but I'm gonna just stand on
They
it.
look awesome right now. They look amazing, like legitimately.
Yeah, it's what happens when Kawhi's healthy.
Yeah,
It's just,
and Harden's averaging like 27.
No, OD.
Yeah,
Harden's been a savage.
Yeah, so we're using Jalen Green. I mean, if Harden and Kawhi,
hey,
you know,
but that's not the world we're living in. The world that I just suggested was
he plays great and everybody else plays bad.
That's not what I'm saying.
No, he plays
just
great.
Jalen Green is literally the best version of himself. They can make the WCF.
Yeah,
I don't think so. I still don't think so. I think there's lots of
their
tough.
ceiling
really
is
tough.
the WCF.
Because what the Lakers, OKC beat them, the Nuggets beat them.
With the best version of Jalen Green.
Yes, the Nuggets
Jesus
still
Christ.
beat them.
The best version of Jalen Green's averaging 30 on 50 and 40.
What was Jalen Green's best month this year?
January.
What was the? Let's see what the record, the Rockets' record was in January.
Dude, they were amazing.
He averages, I think, 27 a night.
And he shot
in January
over 40% from three, 46% from the field.
Yeah.
Dude,
he was shooting well.
He was a fucking team. Like Jalen Green, I wish so bad that he was consistent. He'd be one of, like, he already is a cool player. It's just, he would be 30 times cooler. It's like Cade Cunningham putting it all together.
They were
this
11-4 in January.
Okay, I'm not surprised.
They're also 12-5 in March.
I mean, again, he's been solid. But January, man,
they're kind of.
You give me January Jalen in the playoffs?
They're kind of able to win regardless if he goes on a heater.
The defense
or not.
is amazing.
We're going to take a brief stop in the show to acknowledge you. And by acknowledging you, we want you to acknowledge us by leaving a like on the video, subscribing to the page, and turning on the notification bell so you know when we drop our content. Again, we appreciate you, but we'd also appreciate it if you could show us some love.
This week in the NBA, I want to give a shout out to two players. I want to give a shout out to Zachary Ricochet. Over the last 35 games, per 36, 19.5 points per game, 40.7% from three. And I want to give another shout out to this player who I'm not going to use his per 36 numbers because he's been doing this, playing the minutes that he usually plays, which honestly, it might be like 39 minutes per game. This is OG Anunoby in March. He's averaging 23 a night.
Greatest.
48% from the field and 39% from
Jalen Brunson
three.
holding him back.
No, he is not. But OG Anunoby. OG Anunoby is playing well. Mikal is also playing really well in March, too. They've both been averaging, I think, over 20 points per game.
So Brunson said he wants to come back for the playoffs.
He should just get ramped up just so in the playoffs.
Love him.
He's 100% ready to go. But, no, they're playing really well offensively. And if they're able to do this while Jalen Brunson's in the lineup and they're able to contribute offensively, that's going to be huge for the playoffs, especially if we match up against the Cavaliers or the Celtics, which is probably going to be the Celtics.
So first round, you're straight no matter what.
I think the first round the Knicks win for sure. With Jalen Brunson back, with Mitchell Robinson, OG playing like this, Mikal playing like this.
Who's 60 round? Is it still Detroit?
It's the Bucks.
Oh, the Bucks. Oh, damn it.
Yeah, and I think they don't have the roster to mess with us.
You guys probably got blessed.
Yeah, I think we're going to beat them. So it's going to come down to the Celtics and the Knicks. And if OG and Mikal are playing like that, I mean, who knows does.
So we're getting Pacers, Pistons round one
does.
possibly. My this week in the NBA, couple players, or I guess one player I want to shout out, but more so a duo that is pretty funny. The Orlando Magic. The Orlando Magic's had quite the season. Of course, all the injuries they've been dealing with, but after their, 6 or 7 game losing streak they went on a few weeks ago, they have been playing a lot better basketball. Specifically, Paolo Banchero has been playing some sensational basketball. Over his last 15 games, he's averaging 38 rebounds, 4.5 assists, 50% from the field, and 35% from three. I'm not saying this to try to shit on another player, but Franz, in the same span, is averaging 22, 6 and 4, 45% from the field, 23% from three on just 5 attempts a night.
It's not a 2.
What's the plus minus?
I don't have the plus minus.
Just joking.
I don't have any huge takeaways from this other than, are we ever going to get a time in this duo's history
where
both are clicking at the same time? Because in the beginning of the year, Joel, as you know, Franz was playing his ass off. I mean, Franz was playing at damn near an all-NBA level.
He needs to be that guy.
And then, Paulo comes back from his injury. Paulo isn't playing well. But over this last month, Paulo is back to being that number 1 overall pick I think the league people were expecting this year. It's the way he's been playing. It's a shame because both these players individually, when they're at their best, both look like guys that could play at all NBA levels. It's just we have not seen it, especially this year, where both of these guys have both been peaking at the same time. And they're going to have a tough first-round matchup, whether that's going to be Cleveland or the Boston Celtics.
A rookie that's been kind of going under the radar this season is Isaiah Collier. Obviously, he plays for the Utah Jazz. They're pretty terrible.
They're terrible.
But he's been okay. 416 assists, just set the franchise record by a rookie for most assists in a season, breaking John Stockton, if I'm not mistaken.
John Stockton, yeah.
Legend. Now, last one I want to talk about is, unfortunately, Kevin Durant going to miss the next 3 games at least with an ankle injury. Went down in this last game that he did play. Was pretty scary because obviously he went to the foul line and did not come back. So obviously you're thinking the worst, especially with the history that Kevin Durant's unfortunately had with injury. Hopefully that he gets back very soon. But looking at the last part of the play-in bracket, the Mavericks have been playing some strong basketball. They are undefeated with Anthony Davis, if I'm not mistaken.
They lost against the
Nets,
last
night, of course, ironically, because I saw the possession where Drew Timme actually played solid defense on Anthony Davis.
Shout out to Drew Timme.
But last I checked, you had the Mavs above them, and then you had the Suns in that last spot. Going to be interesting to see what happens down the stretch. Hopefully Kevin Durant comes back because obviously, with Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, without Kevin Durant, I don't see it happening, but this could be Kevin Durant's last season as a Phoenix Sun. Hopefully it doesn't go out sour.
Man, tough era.
I promised somebody in the comments I'd acknowledge this team and they'd have a segment this week in the NBA, not a whole segment, but I got to talk about them. It's the LA Clippers. They look dangerous. And Carson, I was talking to him the other day, and Carson told me his NBA playoff hot take was that they can make the conference finals. They're that good. The Clippers look amazing. And in the last 15 games, they're third in offensive rating, 8th in defensive rating. They're 3rd in net rating. This has been one of the best teams in basketball. And looking at the sample size of when Kawhi Leonard has been on the court, which has been 31 games, 20-11 on the year. That's a 64.5% win percentage, which would be tied for the Houston Rockets in number 2 in the Western Conference. So when Kawhi Leonard is on the court, the Clippers play like one of the very best teams in the West. And, I mean, you just got to get sold on the talent of this team. Harden is averaging 27 efficiently, because I know that's been, a talking point against him, but he was an all-star for a reason, He's carrying the Clippers all year long. Norman Powell playing really well. Kawhi Leonard, absolute demon, playing like himself again. Zubats. I mean, just then and there, you have a really good lineup. Bogdanovich, to trade with the Hawks, trading Terrence Mann, getting a shooter in there. Him and Harden have had an excellent connection, and his ability to just stop on a dime and pull up and take over games from the perimeter has been something that they needed. And then Derrick Jones Jr., and then Ben Simmons, and then Chris Dunn. They have a really good team. Like, this is a top to bottom good team. And if they stay healthy, they're going to give teams in the West some fits. I think the ceiling is conference finals. I agree with Carson.
If they stay healthy, they can do a lot of things.
Sure.
They're super uber talented.
Absolutely.
They go as far as Kawhi Leonard's knees allow them to go. Kawhi Leonard, nobody ever doubts him. When he's on the court, he's inevitable. He's incredible. 3-level scorer, can do everything with the basketball in his hand. It's just a matter of, do you want to delude yourself into believing this is the year, Joel? This is the year, Joel.
Right now, we're
Kawhi's going to be healthy.
It's healthy right now.
This is the year that this is where we finally have it. The Clippers have been waiting for it. They got it in the bubble. Unfortunately, they just gagged in the most horrific way possible. And then after that, it's just been a string of unfortunate events for them. And now being serious, because without Kawhi, there's no real championship expectation. But if he's healthy, I can understand where Clippers fans are coming from. It's just a matter of if you want to get yourself to believe it or not. And until I see it, I'm not believing it. And that's just with respect, because it's been 4 years of thinking, oh no, they'll figure it out. He'll get healthy. It's playoff time. It's load management. 2019, they did it all the time. And then come playoff time, he was locked in playing an unbelievable amount of minutes. And that just never happened.
They have 3 to 4 all-star level players.
Yeah.
Yeah. what's the
Unless you're counting Norman Powell.
No, Powell
Yeah,
counts.
yeah.
Powell counts.
He was in the conversation.
Like this team
year.
is very talented, and I think this year they've managed Kawhi the best that they've ever managed him before. They weren't playing him in the beginning of the season.
hurt.
He came
Like, he
literally hurt.
Just didn't play a game for like
no, but
3
they
months.
also brought him back after January.
Yeah, it's
So he
facts.
missed almost the entire first half of the season. They brought him back in January. He's only played 31 games this year.
Yeah.
But I think they are very aware of how much Kawhi's body could take. And they brought him back in a moment where, you know, you're not going to play too many games before the playoffs. He's going to play about 31 to 40 games before the playoffs. And then when the playoffs start, you know, he does his thing. I think him on the court right now, he's still playing at a very high level.
He's playing at a
sure.
peak level.
Yeah.
He was
It's
averaging
incredible.
27 in March.
Yeah, and with absurd efficiency. So I think
Until
with
last
him
night, no doubt.
and
He
the
was
way that James Harden is playing
That
with
was unnecessary.
Zubats, I think this team is very talented. Like this team is, when we talk about dark horses in the West, I think they are the epitome of the dark horse.
They're
in
more
the
of a
West.
dark horse than like. Is Golden State a dark horse still?
I don't think they're a dark horse. I mean, you have Jimmy Butler, you have Draymond, you have Curry.
Kawhi, you got James Harden, you got you.
No, you're right, but I mean, people kind of just like, you know,
Nah,
overlooking
they,
the
I mean, more of a
Clippers.
name's got Steph. I think you
also
make
the
the
eighth seed.
argument third
Yeah.
best team. I mean, depending how you feel about the Lakers, second best team in the Western
That's the
Conference.
issue. You can't call them dark horses if they go up against OKC in round one. Unless you think they can beat OKC,
No, they can't.
which I
Nobody could beat
no,
OKC.
literally
Nobody can beat OKC.
in the West.
In the West, I don't think so, no. In the East, there's only one. It's Boston.
In the West, I don't think any team can
No.
beat OKC either.
I think OKC is just too good.
What, 14, 13 game lead over everybody?
14, yeah.
They are
It's,
pretty great.
it's insane.
Who are you contemplating?
I mean, I'm always gonna respect LeBron James and Luka Doncic.
Oh, if the
And Austin
Clippers,
Reeves.
Can't
I
forget him.
think the Clippers will at least get the 7th seed. I think they'll avoid OKC in the first
So
round.
they're gonna leapfrog the Warriors.
Well, they would just have to beat Minnesota unless who's the
Apologize.
7th seed?
So they're tied 20 games behind, excuse me. Timberwolves have the tiebreaker, so the Wolves are the 7th seed. I also want to apologize.
They
I
play
said-
each other in the play.
Correct. I got it flopped. The Kings are the 10th seed right now. They're a game behind the Suns.
The Grizzlies are also the 5 seed, and they have been falling quickly.
They are 19 games behind. The Warriors are 19 and a half, which means the Clippers are only a game behind the 5th seed.
They can catch that.
easily.
If they get the 5th seed, I feel very comfortable.
So
but
let me
then you
ask
run
you.
into OKC in the second
No,
round.
but you also know you run into in the first round
The Lakers.
the Lakers.
If it's a 4 and 5 matchup, that's a 7-game series.
That's a great series.
That's legitimately a 7-game series.
I would take the Lakers, but it would be a great series.
I mean, we know what Luka does to the Clippers. I mean, we know.
Exactly. And we know what LeBron does to the Clippers.
That's a 7-game series, though.
No,
if the
it's
Lakers
not.
are healthy, absolutely.
It is
And
going.
the Clippers are healthy, yes,
No,
absolutely. It's
What's the
7-game
going?
series.
5?
5.
Ooh.
5 is
I
disrespectful.
would say 6 probably. Clippers
Okay.
have been playing really well.
If you want to give him 6, I'm cool with that.
I'll give him 6.
That'd be a great
We
series.
own them. We own them.
Not James Harden.
We actually have owned him, his version of the Clippers for sure.
Not Zubats.
No, that too. We've owned that version of the Clippers too.
Not Norman Powell.
No, specifically him too.
Yep. How about Derrick Jones Jr.?
No, him too.
Got to worry about him. Bogdanovich got to worry about him.
No, what? Oh, it's interesting because who
Chris
knows? Who knows DJJ better than Luka?
Who do you think has a better team? Clippers or Lakers?
Lakers.
Like top to
Lakers.
bottom.
Lakers.
Like you got Luka.
No, good. No, good.
Who
Good
got a
take.
better team?
No, good take. Let's hear
Like
it.
remove LeBron and remove Luka
And remove Austin
and remove
Reeves. Ugh.
Kawhi and remove
Harden and Zoo?
Who had just remove Kawhi and Harden. Remove LeBron and Luka and Kawhi
So
and Harden.
I'm getting Reeves, DFS, Rui, Jackson Hayes,
Gabe.
Gabe. That's like your 5.
and you're getting
And Dalton
Zubats,
Connect.
and you're getting Powell, you're getting Jones Jr., you're getting Bogdanovich, you're getting Ben Simmons.
You just okay.
Chris Dunn.
It's probably the Lakers.
What are we doing?
Probably the Lakers.
You think so?
I mean, it's
Removing
I
the
could
top
hear
two?
it. I could hear it.
No, I don't think it's the Lakers. If you remove the top two,
Well, I guess you
Zubats
do.
and Powell.
Powell and Zoo is
They carry a lot
it's
of
better
weight.
big two.
Reeves.
But I would take
is
Reeves over probably
a
both of them.
legend.
Reeves is amazing.
He's
Obviously.
I would
he's
take
a goat.
Reeves would be the best player out of those. Out of that
Yeah,
bunch.
yeah, but then it'd probably be Zubats and Norman,
yeah.
and then after that it would be
DFS
DFS,
and
Rui.
Then
I was gonna say
Gabe.
I'm so sorry, Rui. It'd be Rui. Then it'd be DFS.
Then it'd be like Derrick
Gabe.
Jones Jr.
No,
Bogdanovich.
now I'm with
I
you.
could see it.
DJJ.
Yeah,
No, I
I
think
hear that.
Bogdanovich too.
The way he's been playing again. Mm-hmm.
Where's Jackson Hayes?
Jackson.
Cook. Cook.
No.
I don't think he's over
He's in his
Bogdanovich.
mix. Ah.
The
In
way
terms
that-
of impact,
Yeah.
In terms
Oh,
of impact, I'm taking Jackson Hayes.
When it
man.
comes to impact, yo, he's high on that list.
Then Kawhi.
It's also just because the Lakers is his only big. Like if he's not impactful, what is going on?
Nah, yeah, they're
who's
messed up if they.
Who's the
they
Clippers
don't have
backup
him.
big?
Eubanks.
Eubanks, facts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's better than Trey Jameson.
It's not so much.
He's better than your backup big.
Our backup big, believe it or not, is LeBron James.
He
Okay.
is. That's a fact.
Now our backup big is Vando. Like when we play
We
our,
even mentioned Vando, yeah.
facts. We didn't. That shows how deep we are.
Yeah.
Ben Simmons or
I wouldn't put
Vando?
it- Vando.
Right now?
I'll just take Vando.
Simmons.
I respect that. I don't know.
Ben?
I
Ben
get
10? What?
Ben 10. Jeez, what are we doing?
Come on.
Oh God, what could have been? Kills me.
So there's some NFL rule changes that happened. The
hate
tush push proposal tabled by owners. It's not going to go through.
Good.
One of the rule changes is that for 2025,
Well, I thought they were going to talk about it in the next meeting they have.
they might, but I
it
think they don't have enough votes. I think there's 16 votes for it. They need 24. So unless they do some major lobbying, it's not going to get passed. But the rule change for 2025 involves penalties can be subject to replay review. Under the new policy, if you hit a defensive player, grabbing a face mask, performing a horse collar tackle, tripping and running into or roughing a kicker, those can be reviewed according to Pro Football Talk. The NFL announced it will utilize Sony's Hawkeye cameras.
Love that.
To measure first downs in 2025.
Elite tweet.
Yes.
Oh, man.
And this will take 30 seconds, saving 40 seconds of time from the chain gang to go and measure the spot of the ball.
Long overdue, number one. I don't know. It's 2025. We still got a whole chain out there. I understand wanting to respect the past and respect the history of the game, but come on, my brother. You know, like, let's get the tennis out of this for like a decade.
Yeah, they realized that maybe Josh Allen got the first down and needed to change the rule for
How many
him.
more rules is going to change for this
Our
guy?
glorious savior,
First the
Josh
overtime rule.
Allen.
Now it's the chain gang. What's the way he's going to lose next?
How many rules are we going to change so the Chiefs lose? I'm down for more.
Guess, right?
Yeah, I mean,
That's sad.
they're
That's
just so
sad.
good. Mahomes is so good, man. You know, he got to keep doing this. Okay, touchbacks will be moved back to the 35-yard line or moved up.
That's
I
big.
like this.
so
big.
it basically
Enforces
Returns,
kicks
yeah.
in the
Yes.
facts.
it forces kickers to not just kick outside of the playing field because this past season, 33% of kickoffs were touchbacks. And under the new policy, the league is expecting that number to jump to 60 to 70% per ESPN's Kevin Seifert. So they want to keep the ball in play, making kickers kick it in the playing field
love
so
that.
they're able to return
'Cause kick returns
on
are
this kickoff
amazing.
return.
Yeah, because the last year's rules, when everyone was just stationary or whatever, that was supposed to, or not stationary, it was stationary before, but like, you know, it's like a big,
Can't move until it's kicked.
exactly. Yeah, they're like
Until
all
it's
like
caught.
they're next to each other now. It was supposed to increase it, but you saw it time and time again. There was kickers just kicking out the back of the end. So we're like, we're not gonna do this.
Yeah, there's a big reason as to why they're making this rule change, and it's because this past season, it's only 1 year of data, but weren't many injuries on kickoffs. And a big reason why they changed to the XFL format of kicking it off, because that's where they got it from, where they line up across from each other, 5 yards across from each other, is because there was a lot of injuries on kickoffs, a lot of scary injuries.
Because you're running full speed at each other.
Yeah, so now with this new rule in play, we'll see if the injuries are low, and also we're seeing more kickoffs being taken out the end zone, just more returns in general in football again.
Running full speed with their only goal, hit the person in front of me as hard as humanly possible.
That's facts. Crazy.
No surprise why people were ending on the injured list after those plays.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very gruesome. It's a lot to deal with. Now, NFL win totals came out
I'm interested in this conversation.
before the NFL draft, so maybe the draft changes some things. It might not because they're rookies at the end of the day. It might change some things for like the
Couple
Titans or
players,
something,
yeah.
The
or like the
Broncos.
players at the top.
Mwah.
Maybe if they get like a top end player.
Yo, before we get into this conversation, real quick. If the Broncos traded for Ashton Genty, should I be upset?
I wouldn't be.
What do you think you give up?
That's the thing.
Probably have to give up first next year.
And I
You're
don't
moving
wanna
up
do
10
that.
spots.
If I have to give up a
At
first
least
for a
10
running
spots,
back,
probably.
wicked.
Yeah.
Somebody made the joke. I saw it. Drew was interacting with my buddy Jackson, and Jackson said, "I can already see the 80% of Bo Nix checkdowns were explosive plays to Ashton Genty."
Oh my God, the Yankees are chucking.
Okay, so on to these NFL win totals. What was something that stuck out to you?
You got Drew.
Grand slam.
Oh, damn.
Oh my God. Oh, I thought we were gonna go through all of them.
I also thought we were just going through all of them.
Okay, we can go through all of them.
I will
We don't have
say
to. I could pull them up real quick.
the one thing I will say, the Broncos broke a streak of hitting the under 4 straight seasons in a row. That's the one thing that I will say, and now they've respected us.
Oh yeah, what was it last year? Probably like
5.5.
Right, yeah.
So let's
We're at
start
9.5
from
now.
just alphabetical order.
Also, all right, you wanted a takeaway. I have one. The Bengals are exceedingly high, 10.5.
The Cardinals are at 8.5 this year.
8.5.
Yes. Plus odds to get over 8.5. So to get 9 wins, they have plus odds.
I like it, believe it or not. I
they
like
did
it.
get better from last year.
What did they go 8-9 last year? 9-8.
8 and 9.
They went 8-9. Division got
They choked it.
stagnant. I guess
You
the
also
division
got a
better.
fairly healthy year from Kyler. He
did.
played like the entire year.
They haven't made enough
It
moves
wasn't
this
that
year to
great.
make me think they're going to be better. I would probably take under 8.5.
You didn't like the
I mean, the Josh Sweat
Sweat
move.
facts.
Yeah, does that add like?
Baron Browning keeping him on a friendly. I like it.
Yeah.
It's a low risk, relatively semi decent reward.
I don't know if they did enough.
I don't disagree.
Josh
They're
Sweat,
going to be
does this
around.
move you?
No, Josh Sweat definitely. He's the biggest marquee signing, but that doesn't change your defense.
I also think they're going to get a solid impact player. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a defensive player. I think Gannon, again, is building something solid on that opposite front. And you have the offensive firepower to go out there and put up points. It's just a matter of, are you?
Mm-hmm.
That's the one thing that I think that's a big question for the Cardinals. But
It's a winnable
they should be.
division, too.
It is.
They just need a
Rams.
defensive line. Yeah, I think Josh Sweat
you
is
can be
a start.
You can
Wild
be
card.
competitive
Yeah,
in the
OD.
division. Facts.
Yeah.
I like this. I like it. 8.5 is a respectable line. I could see the 8. I could see the 9. But there's a part of me that is excited for what the Cardinals are going to do this season.
The NFL or the Atlanta Falcons, they're at 7.5.
I'll take the over.
I do.
I think
like that
what we
too.
saw from Michael Penix in the 3-4 games last year, he's going to be pushing the ball down the field. I think the offense is going to be better. That defense, man, it was bad last year. I think it's probably going to be bad again. They didn't have really any cap space. They're going to be drafting defense, I'm sure, probably within their first few picks. But really, what can Raheem Morris get out of this, right? In year 2, what can he do to make an imprint on this defense? Because I do think this is going to be an above average offense, right? Like top 15 offense. If Michael Penix continues to do what he does, that run game should be just as great. But the defense is going to be what holds them back ultimately. But that's a bad division, right? I do think the Buccaneers are a good team, but they're the weakest out of all of the best division teams. Saints, the Panthers, I think they'll be competitive-ish, but I see the Falcons probably the second best team.
I'm with you.
This is a low number. I think with the way Penix was just put out there after Kirk got benched and in primetime dueled with Jaden Daniels and had some clutch plays in that one. I think this is very low. I think they're an 8-win team at least.
I'm with that.
Even if the defense is somewhat of an Achilles heel,
What
I
did they win last
think
year?
I think they went 8 and 9, if I'm not mistaken.
Sounds right.
It might have been 8 or 9. I think it was 8 and 9. And the defense, they're gonna every pick they have in the draft is gonna be defense.
Has to be.
Like every
They did
single
go
pick.
8-9 last year.
Yeah, every pick they have is gonna be defense for sure. The Ravens, they're at 11.5.
They're tied for highest win total.
Last year they won 12.
As long as Lamar Jackson stays healthy, you have to anticipate that this is going to be more than that.
Yeah, if Lamar is healthy, I'm not taking the under.
I got them at 12 wins right there. The Bills are also at 11.5.
So no, this is you know what? Let me not say that because there is a team that I can see having double-digit wins, but just hitting that mark at 10 flat. It's another team of this caliber. I get it. The division, I feel like it's not the strongest. I do respect the Dolphins still. Don't acknowledge the Jets with all due respect, guys. Hopefully, you guys turn it around. And the Patriots made a lot of moves. Let's see if it makes a difference, but they've shown that it's their world. They're going to win a ton of games, and I do think they got slightly better from last year. So I'll say they hit that over too.
12.5, you said?
11.5.
Oh, 11.5.
Yeah.
Oh,
The division is pretty much 5
Yeah.
wins. I think the one loss is against the Patriots. The Patriots always play them really tough, even with no talent.
They own the Bills. Excuse me, the Dolphins. They
Yeah.
own them.
Exactly. And, the Jets, they're going to beat them. Jets don't
we
have
even
much
play them
talent.
tough.
We do play them tough
Play them
with
tough.
Robert Saleh, with
Fair.
Bob Saleh. Yeah.
Hey,
We do play them tough.
new culture in the building.
You're cool. Hey, I like what Aaron Glenn's been saying.
I
man.
think the Bills are the best roster in the AFC. I think the extensions they gave out to their top players, they got them at a discount. Ben Ford is at $19 million per year. He just had a top 5 corner season. Rousseau is at $20 million per year. I think he's a better player than Josh Sweat, and that's kind of what Josh Sweat got. And then you look at Khalil Shakir. He's getting $15 million per year.
Can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
At what point do we get to the point where corners get paid similarly to defensive linemen? Never?
You're saying like Myles Garrett?
They kind of already are.
Well, they're getting there.
Well, the Miles
Slowly but
Garrett's
surely.
making 40.
Yeah.
Yeah, 40.
I think the best corner in the league is not making 20.
I think they're
No,
making
25.
Excuse me.
Yeah,
what's-
J.C. Horn.
Facts,
Yeah.
J.C. Horn. But Sertan's under 25,
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah, but
because
he
he
got
got
his
it.
contract earlier. Like I
Yeah.
think
but he's nowhere near 40.
he's probably getting 30 though. Next contract for sure.
I only say that because the league has shifted so strongly to the passing. Maybe not this
But
past
what does
season.
Stingley get?
Stingley, I think he did not get paid more than. Did he get more than JC?
I would be shocked if he
If he
didn't.
didn't, I agree.
Stingley got 30 a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
So that's the market now. 30 million for
So I
a
mean,
corner.
yeah, like 30 a year. It's not 40 with Garrett, but I don't know if it'll ever get that high because they're gonna want to pay pass rushers more than corners in general.
Yeah.
I only say that because, especially not this past season, because we saw the resurgence of running backs, but in years prior, we see how heavy the pass offenses were leaning on the
Yeah.
receivers. And these corners have to go out there, the best of the best, and you can't hold the way that you used to. You can't press the way that you used to, and it really separates the good from the great and the great from the elite. That's the only reason why I asked that, but I get it. Of course,
I think they'll always be a step ahead.
impacting the run. You're getting to the
Yeah.
quarterback. Obviously, sacks are, like you constantly say, are drive enders, and those are the guys that go out there and do it on a consistent basis. So I get it, but at the same time, I just acknowledge that corner is arguably the top 2 hardest position in football.
Yeah, because the corners, I mean, your coverage is really only as good as your pass rush. Like,
Yeah.
you could have
Pretty much.
Sauce
Fair
and
enough.
Pat and Stingley, but if a quarterback got 7 seconds back there, they're gonna find somebody.
The only person the Bills didn't pay was James Cook thus far.
Yep.
I think James Cook is probably just demanding too much, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, he was on Instagram Live. What was it 15 a year? Was it more?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know how real it is, but
Shakir just got 15 mil. If Shakir just got 15 mil,
I understand why
I don't-
James Cook would want that
James
money.
Cook's their best offensive player,
But-
not named Josh Allen.
he's also like splits carries.
That's because the offense does. I don't get it.
Also, Ty Johnson was great last year.
Yeah, like honestly, if I'm
so
the
was
Bills,
Ray
like
Davis.
would I rather pay?
Cook was a demon.
Absolutely. He
Would I
left,
rather pay
not
James
only with-
Cook
did he
or
leave
would I
second?
rather
Second most.
second?
draft Travion Henderson in the second round and call it a day?
Well, it's just when you paying all of these dudes, you're gonna have an odd man out.
If
If
they
you can move
draft
James
Trayvon, I'm
Cook
gonna be so
for like
fucking mad.
But I also think that if James Cook was maybe like at 10 million per year,
I would do that.
I think
Heartbeat.
they do it. But I think he might just be asking for a little bit too much because you look at the deals they made; they're all team-friendly deals. Khalil Shakir is essentially an 1,000-yard receiver.
He's an above
getting
average
paid
wide receiver.
15 million per year.
I mean,
like
that's a good contract.
there are not 5 slots better than him. Christian Kirk, he got his contract a couple years ago. He was primarily a slot. He got paid more than what Shakir just got paid. Like
Yeah.
all of the guys that they're paying, they're on friendly deals. You look
James
at
Cook is probably asking for a bag.
Bernard too. Like
Do you
bro,
blame him?
No.
but he can't be your most highest paid player salary wise.
Oh, that's a fair statement.
Like I wouldn't pay him more than Terrell Bernard per year.
No.
Terrell Bernard's getting like 12 million per year, 12, 13. So like that's why
I
it's
can
tough.
see Cook asking for 12, 13.
Maybe, but they're far apart right now.
As long as he's not getting top 2, top 3 running back money, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I think he wants to reset the market though.
He probably
not that
does.
guy.
I mean, he's coming off.
And I love
He's
James.
coming off a record breaker year for him. Record breaking for the Bills at least. He's right most touchdowns in Bills history, and for a running back, you really only get one contract 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, first 3 rounds, I think they're gonna go running back at least one of those rounds.
Wouldn't be
Probably the third
surprised.
round. Like this running back draft is pretty deep, and he might be the odd man out. He is very
Do they
explosive.
need a running back?
No, they don't. But if
but they-
James Cook is not going to be there long term, they do.
Ray Davis.
Ray Davis is good.
Yeah,
He's a complimentary.
Is he
back,
a
too,
locked
though.
in like he's my workhorse next
I
year?
mean, I watched it against the Jets. Kind of killed y'all. Y'all also, at the same time,
Couldn't
were
stop the
dookie
run.
butt at run defense.
The Panthers are at 6.5.
There's every part of me that wants to smash it.
I like the over.
I like it.
This is a 4th place schedule, right? They came in last place, right?
They did.
They, 4th place schedule. The way Bryce Young played the second half of the year,
Talk.
you were building an identity, I think, on offense with Chuba Hubbard in this run game. Coker broke out a little bit. They still need to add another receiver.
They have Rico.
They did bring Rico Dowdle in. That's a good 1-2 punch.
And Kay Adams was able to get Dave Canales to say that they're going to go defense with the 8th pick.
And I think the defensive line is really where they want to build. I think in the trenches, both sides, we've seen them, pay big money on almost get Milton Williams, but they paid a ton in the 2 off seasons ago on the offensive line. I'm sure they'll take more defense. I trust Dave Canales. I think what you've seen from Bryce Young second half of the year, they can win 7 games.
They need a lot defensively. They invested a lot salary cap
They won
wise
5 last
to Sean Wharton, Bobby Brown. Like they added defensive line talent, and with Derek Brown coming back,
5-12.
they should be better. 2-win improvement. J.C. Horn had an anomaly healthy season. Like, if he stays healthy again, sure, but they need another corner. Like, J.C. Horn, they need somebody else opposite of him. That's why it's interesting to see what they're going to do with the 8th overall pick. Like, if they're going to draft somebody for Bryce Young, or if they feel comfortable with Leggett and Coker and
They better not,
a day two receiver out there, or maybe they draft like a tight end, Harold Fannin and stuff, and that maybe is something.
They do my boy Bryce dirty, I'm gonna be very upset. But at minimum, if you go defense, if you go corner, I don't hate it, because you obviously do need some help in the secondary. You could use some help on the defensive line, especially after missing out on Milton Williams. That was definitely a bummer. But you still need some. I mean, this roster needs a lot. It really does. Maybe outside of offensive line. I think that you could use a wide receiver, but I'd understand going and bulking up the defense and then trying to use a day 2 pick to get Bryce a weapon. There's the fan in me of Bryce Young that likes the over 6.5 to get to 7 wins. I still think they're too far away, though. I still think there's
at 2 wins from last year.
But there's so many holes on this roster. The defensive line's not that good. You're getting Derek Brown back. Obviously, that's huge. He's still one of the better interior linemen. But you still need secondary help. You still need wide receiver help. I just think that they're still too far away. That's the only reason I have hesitancy.
They are far away. Maybe in 2 years they're drafting for a quarterback again. Who knows?
So you're off the train. You need to get help.
If they're going to be bad, let's say they have the first pick and Arch Manning's on the board. Are you keeping Bryce or are you drafting Arch?
How good does Bryce look?
If you have the number 1 overall pick, something went really wrong.
Can I ask you a question? Oh, well, okay, Trevor Lawrence.
What about it?
He was the year after the number 1 pick, right? Or excuse me, Trayvon Walker, I'm saying.
I mean, look how bad that season was.
And now here we are again, and they have the 4th pick overall.
Yeah,
5th pick
and
overall.
I mean, listen, he got a contract.
I'm just saying. 5th pick over. Now we go to the hurt. Okay.
And they also
No,
had
but
bad
I just
luck
want to say this. Stay on that side, because you were here with Bryce. Oh, he played amazing. He was great.
Made the playoffs.
Second in big time throws since coming back from being benched. Only to who? Your glorious king, Joe Burrow. I'm just saying, stay on that side. You want to come with that energy. I don't forget.
I mean, the train you're on, you don't think they're going to get a 2-win improvement?
2 wins, Drew.
The team's not good. It's not good.
I think it's be better than last year. I think Bryce Young comes to the season with confidence. If he plays the way he played
in the second half of the season, like all next year.
I mean, dude, I watched him ball out against high-level teams.
He
against
did.
The Eagles.
He did.
Against the Bucks. It's not the first time, not the second time.
Zach Wilson played well against the Chiefs.
Okay, that's the ride you want to be. Good job.
Man.
It's the ride you want to take.
Hey, I'm saying there's moments.
Sounds good.
The Bears are at 8.5.
Zach Wilson didn't have 10 weeks. He had 2 games. Don't ever compare the two.
I'm not. I'm just saying you have a great stretch.
But the thing is, Zach didn't have a great stretch.
No, Bryce Young was good for so much longer.
No, I'm not saying he had a great stretch.
No, you should have never brought that guy into this conversation. In totality,
you can maybe have
the
a
two
great
don't
stretch.
belong. One's in the Jamarcus Russell conversation. The other's actually doing stuff on a football field that matters.
You're telling me if they get that version of Bryce all the next seaon, they're at most 6-win team?
They're still poo-poo. They don't have a good roster.
In the NFC South?
Deshaun Watson threw for 4,700 yards, over 70% completion percentage, and they won 4 games. Sometimes you could be the best in a game, and it does not matter.
2-win improvement.
I understand. The team still needs help.
2 wins.
Are you saying they're over?
No.
Okay, but shut the fuck up.
You're the Bryce Young believer, though.
I am.
You're the one that's telling me that I'm off the train.
You are.
But you're not. You know,
because I believe in that.
You don't got to win in 2 more games.
Wins aren't a quarterback stat, right?
No, they're not.
All right, then let's move on.
It definitely helps winning. Because, like, Bryce Young got benched after his first 2 games. He went 0-2, and he was really bad.
They won 4 out of the 10 games he played once he came back from being benched.
So what was his quarterback record this past year?
4-10. Or no, I'm not taking into account the games before he got benched.
Okay, 4-8.
So yeah, they lost the first 2.
4-6, guys. After he got benched, he won 4 of the 10.
Yeah, 4-6.
So 4-6.
Good math.
So that's a 500 record.
I genuinely
slightly below,
close to.
Yeah, it's not.
And if they beat the Eagles, that's 500.
Slightly below.
Because they could have beat the Eagles.
They could have beat the Bucks. They lost both.
They could have beat the Chiefs.
Cook.
I mean, that's 7 wins right there.
Are you taking their over or no?
I'm asking you.
I already gave you my answer
He's saying
4
no.
times.
Seems like
Bryce
I'm the only
Young
one on the
believer.
Bryce Young train, man.
Yeah, the
Crazy.
only guy.
You're a Bryce
got them
guy now.
Six,
I guess
got
so.
6
All right, I
wins.
love it.
He's the highest on Bryce now. 8.5 wins for the Bears.
Interesting. Wins are quarterback stat. Noted. For the Bears, 8.5. Is that what you just said?
It is 8.5.
That's also high.
It is high.
I'm going for it. I think Caleb is going to have a top 10 quarterback.
I always
season.
just get nervous when you have the hyped up team. Like last year, we're probably like, oh yeah, Bears, that's easy. You got Caleb, you got Rome.
Had them as a French
Keenan.
playoff team.
Yeah.
I just think their coaching, their offensive line improvement, I think is different this year. And I think Ben Johnson, I think sack avoidance is going to be a major talking
Who
point.
they hire? Dennis Allen's DC, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm in. I would take their over. I think they can get 9 games.
I believe in Caleb. I think
But they
that's a
win
big
like-
thing.
Keep asking.
I really believe in Caleb Williams. I do.
Me too.
Like, I think he's going to show why he's a star.
is.
They
6
won
wins?
5 games
5.
last year. So, 4-win improvement. Of course, the division's going to be tough as ever. But 4th place schedule.
I can see I'm feeling an 8-9 record. I'm feeling an 8-9 record.
And that would be an improvement.
It would be, and that's
they would double their wins damn near.
damn near. Good job, Dels.
Only 3.
But coming from 2 years ago, they were supposed to take a jump. I think the playoffs should be the expectation.
They were 1-5 in the division last year.
I think
That's pretty brutal.
I think the offense gets better. I think the offensive line obviously will be a huge part of that. I also think Ben Johnson coming in, and depending on what they do with pick 10, this offense could really get turned on its head if that pick 10 is a running back. And you really lean into that part of the game and then obviously work off the play action, work off of Caleb's strengths, get DJ Moore back involved into the offense. Obviously, Rome Odunze and Caleb really build a strong rapport in year 2. I think that, to me, is the most important part of this year. Obviously, Caleb's development, but building the rapport between Rome and him, because Rome had a lot of moments last year where he could have thrived, and the two just couldn't connect because he was getting overthrown by a lot. I can see it. I can see the world where they do have more wins because obviously I think Ben is a game changer. But I think this is a multi-2-year process. I don't know if it'll happen overnight. And if it does, that means Ben Johnson's coach of the year. And that's a good thing for Chicago Bears fans.
The Bengals are at 9.5.
I'm sorry.
It's not happening.
Roster's still not good. I can see it.
They won 8 last year. Right? No, 9.
They won 9.
9.
They won 9.
And they were 8-4 with Chase and Higgins when they played.
Does Burrow miss the playoffs 2 years in a row? Because if you win 9 games, you're not making the playoffs.
No.
I don't know. I think they get 10.
I think they get 10 as well.
Are they the worst defense in the league?
Bottom 5.
They might not be. No.
What's the hope? Just belief,
22nd.
thought, like just prayer?
They just got some added depth to the defensive line. With TJ Slayton, who's like more of a run stopper. I think that first round pick is going to be a defensive player. It's going to be either an interior defensive lineman. I look at Walter Nolan. I look at Kenneth Grant. I look at Derek Harmon or Mike Green from Marshall, who I think if they get Mike Green, now you have like 2 high-level pass rushers. So I think their back end is fine. It's really their defensive line. So if they address that, I think they'll be fine. But even with the defense being bad last year, they were 8-4 when Higgins and Chase played.
Amazing.
I know, but they were 8-4 when Chase and Higgins played.
Primarily because their offense was
I mean,
amazing.
T.
No,
Higgins
for sure.
historically has missed time, to be fair.
Yeah,
No,
you're
like-
right. But I also
Tomorrow,
think they've
whether
got
we
some
like
bad
to admit
breaks.
it or not, has also missed time.
It's not like
Yeah.
they lost these games and they
T.
weren't
always
in
has the
it.
nagging ones.
There were very few ones. Like the Eagles game got out of hand, but against the Chiefs,
Ravens
one
twice.
play. Ravens twice. They were up 21-7 in both of those games. The Steelers game, they had a pick 6
New
on the
England's
first drive.
Against the fraud Broncos, overtime. I don't know, man. I'm just
Tough.
like, am I moved? Am I?
That was a good win.
Over under.
Nick Bonito was moved by that one.
I'm feeling 9. I'm
I
feeling
feel-
9.
I don't think Joe Burrow does it 2 years in a row, man. No way.
There's not a chance.
No way.
You cannot be a top 4,
No,
top 3,
no.
maybe in some eyes top 2, and you don't miss. You missed the playoffs 2 years in a row.
Technically 3, the injury, though.
I mean, he was a demon.
He was. He was
was
demon
a
last year.
Yeah,
Oh,
quarterbacks
technically
are not
3.
a win.
Yeah.
He's cooking.
Win is not a quarterback stat though. So
Hey, you're right.
Yep.
Clearly.
You're right.
It's
Clearly.
not.
Amen.
So you could take 9 on the Bengals. You could take 6 on the Panthers. You could take whoever. Browns 5.5.
I was wondering
Under.
where you're going with that. Yeah.
They don't have a quarterback.
Kirk Cousins soon.
Abdul Carter though with Miles Garrett.
That
is
would
dangerous.
be electric.
Yeah.
But he's not adding 4 wins to your roster or whatever.
Let me ask you: is drafting Abdul Carter a risk
I mean, everyone's a risk technically.
In favor of what?
in favor of him leaving?
Abdul leaving or who?
Abdul
Why would he leave?
to go be a Philadelphia Eagle.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think he's gonna force his way to the Eagles.
No.
Crazy.
You have you play out your rookie contract. Most likely, if he's who we think that he's going to be, you get tagged once or twice, whatever it is, and he's like, I'm gone.
Oh, if the thing is, he's gonna be an elite player for me for 6 years.
You take it
Sign
to
me
crib?
up.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
6 years is a long time.
There's a lot of number 2 overall picks that aren't good for 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
Cook.
I'm not worried about 2031 off season. No, I think that would be a dangerous duo. Either they could go Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter. I think that's their pick. One of those two players.
Shador, no way, no how.
No.
All right. There's a part of me that still feels quarterbacks in play.
Yeah. Kirk Cousins.
Get a bridge year.
Kirk Cousins.
Get a bridge year. I think that makes more sense. I'd rather play a Browns team that has Kirk Cousins and then Abdul Carter and Myles Garrett. I think that is a more scary team than Shador Sanders and
My God, I am blanking on the Browns head coach.
Stefanski.
Dude, I could not get Freddie Kitchens out of my head, and I knew it was wrong.
All the stuff Baker had to go through, man.
Stefanski, this poor bastard, man. This poor bastard. There's a part of me that wants him to get fired.
Just to go somewhere
Go
else.
to a new team.
Yeah.
You deserve
He
it.
does deserve it.
You don't deserve the nonsense that the Browns put you through. You're way better than that.
You saw the owner said Deshaun Watson was a swing and a miss.
Yes. Dude, I loved his comments.
No, facts.
He was like, yeah, this was an organizational decision.
It was.
And it was an organizational disaster. We, as a collective, decided this was going to be beneficial for our team, and we whiffed. So don't just look at Barry. No, look at us. We were the ones
ownership
that
was the one
okayed
who
it
said,
too.
yeah, we'll give him 240 guaranteed or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I mean,
the
brutal.
Cowboys are at 7.5.
I'm going to take the over.
I just don't see how Dak Prescott
Correct.
healthy with stars, Micah Parsons, CD. I just don't. But they have Schottenheimer though. I think that's the
I'm
downside.
taking the under. I don't trust this team at all.
Dak's healthy?
Sure, should be.
There's no way he wins less than 7 games.
This team, the coaching I don't trust. The
He owns
roster
the
I don't
NFC
like.
East.
He does, but the Commanders are as good as they've ever been.
Record-wise, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
I
the
guess.
Eagles are as good as they've ever been. So he could own the Giants. He'll always own the Giants. You know what I mean? But the Commanders, this is the best Commanders team that Dak probably has ever faced.
I don't know. I think it's tough because it's Dak at the end of the day. Healthy with CeeDee Lamb. I think the offensive line's all right. They still don't have a running game. They need a running back. Who knows if they're going to address that in the draft. But
Who
the
knows his
defense is
rights?
good with Osa and Micah. It's really about the coaching, though. But I think Dak is just so good as a quarterback.
They were
that
3 and
he can
5
get
last
that.
year with Dak starting.
Defense was really bad. The rush defense specifically. Michael also did miss a few of those games.
did.
I could
For
see
sure.
that. I could see them being 8 and 9. I could see it. But I wouldn't be shocked if they finished last in
I
the
guess
division.
he's 7 and 10.
Giants have a better record than them.
I wouldn't be shocked.
Okay.
The
I'd be-
Giants got some good things going on.
They do.
They don't have a quarterback though.
They have Russell Wilson.
Yeah, they do.
Shooter Sanders on the
You're
way.
right.
Maybe.
He's an upgrade over Daniel Jones though, so we saw
Last
Brian
year's
Dable
Daniel
did
Jones,
that.
absolutely.
No doubt.
Yeah.
2022, no way.
The Denver Broncos are at 9.5, and
Juicy.
betting on their over is plus 125.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I think the Broncos get double
So they're
digits.
kind of telling
you were
you
10
like
and 7 last year, right?
Yes.
they're kind of telling you Vegas is telling you guys, okay, we think they're gonna get the under on this.
I mean,
That's
yeah,
what they're saying.
slightly, but yes.
Yeah. There's minus 150 if you bet
Get on
the
it
under.
now, because come draft day, when we draft a heater in round 1, that's going to minus odds.
I'll take the over. I think last year you surprised everybody, so there's a bit of the, you don't know what you're getting with Denver, but they also, struggled for the early part of the season. Bo Nix at least struggled for the early part of the season, and they were winning games when teams knew they were good, when teams knew that this is an offense that can move the ball. It's a defense that's up there with everybody. They have one of the best head coaches in the NFL. I said it a couple of weeks ago, I think they have one of the best rosters in the NFL. I think they're the best roster in the division, and Bo Nix in year 2 should be better than what he was last year, assuming they draft a running back, which is the most obvious pick of all time in this draft, whether that's round 1 or round 2, add a receiver at some point. This team should win 10 wins again. This team should get 10 wins again.
At least.
I'm looking at their 2025 opponents. At home, they have the Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders division. Jaguars, Titans, Cowboys, Giants, Bengals, Packers.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Away, they play the Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders, the Texans, Colts, Eagles, Commanders, and Jets.
That's a good schedule.
There's like 4 gimmies in
Yeah, for sure. There's
Yeah.
definitely
like outside division.
The tough ones are the Eagles, the Bengals,
Texans.
and the Texans.
Green Bay.
And Green Bay,
Green Bay's
that's a tough game.
Cincy's tough. Washington's tough.
But those
Philadelphia's
first
tough.
3 or
About
4
Washington.
home games you mentioned were
Yeah, the
food.
Texans are tough too. And then the Chiefs and Chargers in division. They got some
The
tough.
thing is, the Raiders
opponents.
always play you guys tough.
We went 2-0 against them last year. We did
Oh
go
yeah,
0-2
and the
against
Raiders have
Chargers.
Geno now, so that does change some things. It's not like
You probably go
Gardner
3-3
Minshew.
against the division.
I wouldn't be surprised at that.
yeah. I don't know. This is tough. It really just depends on if there's healthier teams in AFC. Like how healthy are some of the teams in AFC? That's what it comes down to. It depends on the Colts if they get Anthony Richardson playing well.
I mean, what teams last year were so banged up beyond belief?
The Dolphins.
Okay.
The Dolphins were one of them. The Jaguars were also banged up.
But wait,
too.
we're not talking about them
Jaguars
being-
got to show me.
All right, so what are you insinuating? We're not a playoff team?
Well, if you win 9, if you're 9-8, I mean you're in
But
the
that's what I'm
hunt.
asking you.
It's a
So
possibility.
you're saying we're in our under.
It's a possibility. Yeah.
So what was the point of your hot take a couple of weeks ago?
What hot take?
That we could win the division.
No, you guys have a great roster. Maybe things could go your way. You know, the ball bounces a certain way.
Yo, the shrug killed
There's
me.
some
God.
things.
The shrug
I
killed
just
me.
honestly,
There's some possibility.
I definitely.
But what if Bo Nix regresses like to the mean and is like not that good?
We don't know what the mean is for Bo Nix.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, I don't know. You know,
Right now, he
1 year
just showed
done.
us that he could be one of the best rookies of all time.
I think
It's fact.
the Chargers and the Broncos are in a similar boat for regression candidates because,
We did not get worse.
well, it's not about that. It's about last year you won 10 games and you didn't beat a team over 500.
Okay. So that only means to me we only can go up.
Or it means that you guys had a kind of fluky season to the playoffs. That's what it means.
I think their coaching is too good. Their defense is too good. And listen, I don't think Bo Nix is some world beater, but he's good enough to get you 10 wins.
Got it.
Because
No,
if
no,
it's
understood.
if they let's go by, they didn't beat a team over 500 this past year.
Mhm.
Commanders, Green Bay.
We did beat a team over 500. They're just choosing not to count the Chiefs.
Week
Week
18.
18. Come on.
That doesn't count.
Come on. Have some pride.
We also should have beat them. Missed
You
field
should
goal.
have. You absolutely should have.
But Leo Chanel's a dog. So Washington, Philadelphia, Green Bay, Cincy are all 500 teams.
Since he's maybe.
Well, Cincy was 500 team last year,
That's fair.
and they beat the
I
Broncos.
also took their over.
Yeah. The Texans were a 500 team. The Chargers twice. KC twice. That's 8 games against 500 teams that they have next season.
We're going to go 0-8.
No, I don't think you guys go 0-8.
I mean,
you guys go
just
1-7?
off what you just said.
Yeah. You guys could go 1-7.
No, you just said
I don't
off
think
last
they
year.
could go-
You said 3-3 in the division. I think that's generous. They could also go like 1-5 in the division.
I don't think they're going 1-5.
They could go 2-4 in the division.
Here's the issue with what you're doing right now. You're giving me things to remember. That's an issue.
If they didn't have
Keep doing
Sean
it.
Payton, I would be with you. But
'Cause
Sean Payton's too
the
good of a coach
last
to do
thing
that.
you want is me to regurgitate everything you're saying to me right now in December when your hot take was that we can win the division, and all I will tell you is that it's irrelevant to me. So pick one.
I'm giving you hypotheticals.
And I'm giving you a hypothetical.
Which side are you on, brother?
The Broncos side or the over under side?
No.
I don't know. My
The
gut
side of
feeling-
that you were 2 weeks ago to the side you're on now. So you tell me.
I mean, that was when the Chargers didn't have the offseason they had.
I'm really glad
Was
Mekhi
it during
Becton
free agency?
really
Or was
gets
it
you
before the
aroused.
Becton signing?
It was before
the Becton
every
signing.
signing they made was after that moment.
Now,
Honestly.
Najee got signed day one.
Yeah, but that didn't move me. It didn't really move me.
Why would it?
They made upgrades like everywhere else. I don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of leading 9 wins. They got better, but if they get Ashton Genty, this could change.
No, dude, that's awesome. In a matter of 2 weeks where nothing's changed, we've gone from we can win the division to this.
They
Yeah,
could come in last.
I'm siding with Vegas. They know things.
They could come in last in the division.
2.
Broncos.
No, I don't see it. I think the Raiders probably come in last. They got the weakest
got Geno.
defense. Yeah, but I mean, the
They could
Chiefs.
get a running back. They could get Genty.
Yeah, but their
Offensive line's decent.
defense is not good though. Defense is not good.
I could've-
Our defense is amazing.
Like I think with
The offense should be good.
yeah, but the Chiefs I think will be better. The Chargers I think will be better. They got Herbert and then they get an improved roster.
I'm just out of curiosity. Why are the Chiefs and Chargers definitely better than the Broncos aren't?
I mean, you have Mahomes and Herbert, and then the Chiefs.
Herbert, the idea.
And the Chiefs team is. I mean, the idea beat you twice last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that matter?
How many times have they beat you since been a Broncos fan? How many times have they beat you since Herbert's been
Not
a
that
quarterback?
many times. We actually split with them except for last year.
Okay, so the idea beat you twice.
The idea threw 4 INTs and is 0-2 in
It
2
still
playoff
beat you
games.
guys. Doesn't matter.
Oh, interesting. if that's really what matters.
And it was a primetime game where you guys were leading.
No, so when's our quarterback stat?
No, but
We just come back to this.
I'm just saying he played well against
When's
you
our
guys.
quarterback stat?
He played well against you guys.
We got like 20 teams, man. What we
Wait,
got?
so you think the Broncos are better than the Chiefs?
No.
Because even like excluding Mahomes and the quarterbacks of it, I think the rosters are still fairly similar.
I think their
Talent-
defense.
from
I think their
talent
defense
perspective.
is better.
Who's?
Yours.
Okay.
I think the Denver's defense is better. Offensively, it's close. Like I think their offensive line is comfortably better. Obviously, quarterback. Weapons room, you probably
They
side
got
with
it.
the Chiefs.
They got it.
But it's not like the Chiefs are like this overwhelming weapons room. They just have some nice
no,
pieces.
no,
They
Mahomes
would-
carries it, but they have Rasheed, they have Worthy, they have Kelsey still.
Yeah, I mean Rasheed's coming off of season injury. Kelsey looked
But you still
as
take
worse
that
as
over
he
the
ever
Broncos.
did. I'm with you
Rasheed Rice would be our best weapon right now.
comfortably.
Xavier Worthy might be.
Maybe.
It's close. I think Sutton still would have the edge, but after
bring
next season, it could be
explosiveness.
Worthy.
It's not a conversation for Xavier. Like, okay, it'll be a debate.
But all of a
then
sudden,
on
if
defense-
they get one of the top running backs, their offense, could
Yeah.
be, it could be a top 10
But
offense.
then on defense, you still have Chris Jones, Karlaftis, Nick
sure.
Bolton,
mean,
McDuffie.
They were the
Yeah.
top.
Do you
three
want me to
defense in
rattle off
football.
our defense?
No, your defense is more talented, but like overall, the Chiefs are a better team because they have Mahomes and the roster. Like the roster is great.
Bo Nix is not going to lose you any games.
The Detroit Lions, they're at 10.5. This feels low for them,
It feels low, but you're also.
but they lost like 7 coordinators.
They lose. They go a 4-game drop.
4-game drop seems aggressive.
But also, teams in the NFC are getting a bit better.
A 5-game drop
What,
because they won
15?
15-2 last year.
Yeah, I mean, the Vikings. You don't know what you're getting at quarterback, right?
The
We know
over's
what
at plus
Sam
odds.
was last year.
It's
Is
at
that
plus odds, plus 125.
I would be shocked if the Lions won 12 games. No.
I'm taking the over.
Yeah.
I think I get the coaching, I get the coordinators. You had two of the best, offensive
Easy.
defensive coordinators in the game last year. But as long as you get average coaching, this roster is really, really, really damn good. And all the injuries they had last year too, they still won 15 games.
I'm very worried about the corner room.
That's fair.
I think, you got to really
As you
expect
should.
Terrion Arnold to be great
He
and
stinks.
make a leap.
Right now.
You have to respect DJ Reed.
DJ Reed is a good number 2.
He's definitely above average.
He's good.
He's a good number 2.
He's a top 20 corner.
I mean, the floor. So if he's a top 20 corner, he's the best
top
corner.
17 corner.
Okay, we're just
15.
The Packers are at 9.5.
drawing. You're going crazy now.
They have plus odds to get 10 wins.
I can't
plus
keep taking the
115.
over on everybody.
Yeah, you've
I
done
know
it for
this
like
is. I've been.
everybody.
I've taken the over on everyone except Arizona.
Literally.
I had to make some sacrifices on teams I didn't want to, like the Broncos. I'm sorry. I didn't really want to.
Oh, the Cowboys, I took the under too.
I
didn't wanna
I
take
want
the
to say
under.
this to you personally. Go to hell.
I didn't want to. I really wanted to take the Broncos over, but I like Dells. I was just picking too many overs.
What's going on with Jordan Love, man?
I think he's going to be great. I mean, he was awesome last year. He just,
I tell you what, man.
was good
they
last
don't
year.
know receivers.
Awesome.
Every time I really, really want to support the Jets, you remind me that I shouldn't.
Jordan
You
Love was
shouldn't.
awesome
I
last
don't
year.
really support the Jets.
Like
You have
every
You have
time,
a Jet sweatshirt on.
Yeah, but I don't care about this upcoming season at all.
there's really a part of me that you really make sick.
Yeah, I got the Chargers this year and the Chiefs.
I can't get over Jordan Love being awesome last
You
year.
went
Bengals.
from us winning the division
It's a hot take.
in 2 weeks to we might not win 9 games.
Yeah, it's a hot take.
I just hate you.
Should my hot take
Hate
be
you.
under 10 wins instead? That's
That's what you
replace-
should have said.
The hot take should be the Broncos win the division with 9 wins. That would be a hot take.
Is the hot take they just missed the playoffs? Is that the hot take?
Packers. I think Jordan Love was good last year.
I'm taking the over on
Awesome.
this.
I think it's a bit of a stretch. I think Josh Jacobs was awesome.
Wait,
last year.
what? Jordan Love was awesome last year?
Yeah, he was awesome.
I think was really great.
He was awesome.
Josh Jacobs was awesome. He was backpacking.
Josh
high
Jacobs,
key.
you mean a negative rushing EPA guy?
I don't give a damn what the EP says. He was a monster last
No, he
year.
was good. I mean, Jordan Love was definitely good for his circumstances, bro.
What's that?
No receivers at all.
Why was he better the year prior?
The second half
His
of the
rookie
season.
year. Yeah.
Yeah, this year he was more consistent throughout the entirety of the year.
Okay.
Definitely really good.
He was like
played
strong
really
above
well.
average.
He was.
I mean, he made a lot of things happen that it wasn't supposed to happen. I mean, he carried that offense for the most part.
Josh Jacobs. I think they win 10 games.
They definitely should win 10 games.
If you win 9 games, Jordan Love, come on. What are we giving
There's
you
going
50
to
million a
be
year
a
for?
team in the NFC North that regresses.
For sure.
I hope they draft a defensive lineman this draft.
Under.
That's my thing with them. I'm not sure if they have any difference makers. They have a lot of good players. They don't have a difference maker. Like Josh Jacobs is good. He's not a real difference maker.
AJ Dillon left.
He's not Saquon. Like he's not a real difference dude.
Oh, Josh is pretty great.
But he's
Tucker
not a real
Kraft.
difference maker.
What if he's a difference maker?
I don't know,
Tucker
man.
Kraft,
If we're
I'm
really
hoping
gonna
so.
if we're gonna say that Josh Jacobs, who was by far and away their best offensive player last year by a country mile, is not a difference maker for them, then they're cooked. They're not winning 10 games.
What did compared to 2023 going to 2024? What difference did he make in their overall offensive output?
Their rushing game was better.
Yeah, overall, but their EPA per play might have been worse this past year.
I mean, that's not his fault.
It's the entirety of the offense.
And I look at the wide receivers that they need to be better.
Overall, he was inefficient with his carries.
Because what else were you going to defend against them?
I mean, the passing game was much more efficient than the rushing attack.
If you're a defense, what are you game planning for? Josh Jacobs or Dontavian Wicks?
You're really not game planning for Josh Jacobs either, though. He's seeing a lot of light boxes.
Was he seeing a lot of light boxes?
Yeah, I don't. You're not really game planning for Josh
I mean,
Jacobs.
it makes sense why he was one of the league leaders in scrimmage yards then.
I think there are some players
Jacob
that are
averaged
different.
4.5 a carry last year.
Yeah,
15
but
touchdowns,
no, but if you look at the
1,400
EPA per play, it was amongst the bottom 10.
no, it was his rush EPA was pretty terrible amongst every player in the league. I think
4.5 a carry I sign up for right now if I'm a running back.
Yeah, I mean, yards per carry is and everything, but this is on 300 touches.
I'm going to be honest. I don't know why Josh Jacobs is
I
getting
was not a
excited.
Josh Jacobs fan. Don't get me wrong. I was not someone who was high on him, but last year I thought he was really good.
He was.
He was good individually, but I'm saying that overall, did he make a difference in their offense?
I just
Not
think
really.
overall it's because the wide receivers were underwhelming. Jaden Reed didn't take the leap that we thought he would. Dontavian Wicks couldn't
They were ninth in
couldn't
rush
catch a
EPA
cold.
last year.
Okay, wow.
I'm looking at the NGS advanced.
They were 11th in
stats.
success rate.
What were they the year before? Probably like the 20s.
I'm looking.
But overall, their overall offensive output fell.
Well, it
I
doesn't
also
seem like
think
it's
because of the
Josh
pass
Jacobs.
offense.
Yeah, but usually the Ravens improved offensively by getting Derrick Henry. He made a huge
Well, it's
difference.
Derrick Henry.
Okay, I also think that Lamar Jackson was literally perfect as a quarterback. Was Jordan Love perfect as a
The
quarterback?
year prior, they were 10th in rush EPA, so the same. And success rate, they were 7th, so slightly better. So they're about the same.
So, like I said, he didn't make much of he was good for them. He didn't make much of a difference. I feel like their overall
What this
offense
shows
was
is
a bit
that
underwhelming.
they've had
Yeah,
back-to-back
they're
pretty
good.
damn
They're really
great
good rushing ball.
team. Yeah.
They can run the ball.
I think that's their problem, though, is that they got a lot of good players. Josh Jacobs is a really good player. Rashawn Gary's a really good player. Rashawn Gary's not a real difference maker. Xavier McKinney was, I think, the step in the right direction, getting a difference maker. Jair, when healthy, I think can be a difference maker. But overall, their defense and their offense, it both suffers from not having a real difference maker. On defense, their pass rush, they don't have any pass rush, and they don't have any wide receiver on the outside that makes a real difference for them.
Tragedy.
So that's why I think
So you're going less.
over 9.5 is plus 115 odds.
Less.
If there's a team that regresses, it could be them.
I'm with you, brother.
Every team got better.
Super Bowl.
Someone's got to get worse.
It's
You know what I mean?
unbelievable.
Can't be all sunshine and rainbows over here.
Yeah, every team got better in the NFC North. And I trust the Bears right now a lot.
Me
I
too.
think Caleb's
I
going to
trust
be a
the Vikings
star.
a lot too. and
How
of
does
course
your
Detroit.
ceiling from one season to the next just fucking...
You had a Broncos win a Super Bowl.
When we got Russ, no doubt.
Texans,
Wait,
9.5 wins.
Are you saying I had the Broncos win the Super Bowl this past season?
No, you just reminded me
Oh,
of
I
the
was going to
Russ
say
take,
you're
too.
hilarious.
You did
Oh,
too.
nice. 3 years ago.
You look at your bracket. You sent us a bracket with the Broncos going all the way.
Son of a gun.
I respect you for
The
that.
Texans, 9.5 wins.
I like 9. This
Are
offensive
they going
line
to win the
scares
division
me.
with 9?
It's plus
Yes,
120,
they could.
9.5 to go over.
Oh man, this defense. I mean, this offensive line is just so terrible.
I wouldn't be surprised, though, if this defense carried them to 10, 11
It could.
wins.
It could.
So for that reason, I'm going to go more.
Would they win 10 last year?
It just depends on how bad the division is this go around.
I mean, I don't have a lot of faith that it's going to be
Tennessee
much better.
overnight.
I like
right?
the Jaguars a lot.
I feel like
the
everybody
Jaguars.
likes the Jaguars coming into a season.
I like Liam
Facts.
Cohen. I really
I like
think
the
he's
Jaguars to win 7 to 8
Scheme,
games,
dude.
but not 10 to 11.
But I think it's going to be at least a challenge. Okay, this team, we can't just overlook them.
I like Trevor Lawrence to win comeback player of the year.
And I like the Colts too. I like the Colts, their roster at least, not the
Yeah, because
quarterbacks.
Daniel Jones is gonna. I was gonna say, buddy, you got to be careful.
Unless Richardson wins the job.
Because here's what happens, and I win. Your guy, Anthony Richardson, loses the job to my guy, who's a terrible, garbage, bottom 2, maybe the worst quarterback in the league. Oof. Thank God Mojo's not around anymore.
So Richardson, since week
Richardson's
11,
be nasty.
Richardson, when he was
Thank
kept
God
clean,
I don't have any money in that anymore.
when Richardson was kept clean since week 11, 6th in PFF grade, 6th in passing grade, 1st in big time throw percentage, top 13th in turnover worthy ready play percentage,
Shameless.
1st in A-dot.
Yeah. Can we throw advanced numbers out the
2.41
window for
time
some
to throw.
people, for the love of
These
God?
aren't advanced numbers.
Kept clean since week 11.
You're using PFF grade. Can we throw that shit away for
He had
once?
9.3% big time throw percentage.
Brother,
when kept clean since
when
week
kept
11.
clean.
I'll be honest. I'm
That just
here for
means
the
that
Anthony
he
Richardson
needs a
hype.
good pocket.
I'm here for it. But listen, 80% of being a good quarterback is being a good quarterback when there's pressure. A lot of guys can be good when they're kept clean. Daniel Jones was a damn near all-pro 2 years
My
ago when
God,
kept clean.
he's cooking.
That's cap.
Oh my God, he's using hyperbole.
No, I think Richardson, the offensive line for the Colts right now, it was abysmal. It was one of the worst in the league last year, pass blocking wise. It was terrible.
Mm-hmm. Daniel Jones has been accustomed to that his entire career.
Richardson's better than Daniel Jones.
I think so.
He has more raw talent.
Show it,
undoubtedly.
please.
I don't think
Richardson's issue is going to be in
wow,
OTAs
I see.
when it's going to get.
I see.
I'm rooting for Richardson.
He's gonna try
I'm
and turn it
rooting
on
for
you now.
Richardson, brother.
I see.
I need it to be
rooting for him.
understood.
Who do you think's winning the quarterback battle?
I'm putting out hope for Richardson.
No. Tell me who's winning, Dels.
I got Anthony Richardson because there's no way you could lose to Daniel Jones.
There's
So-
no way you can lose to Daniel Jones, right, Joel?
I'm not saying that. I
There's
think
no
Daniel
way?
Jones is very smart.
But the issue becomes, Joel, I think Anthony Richardson.
That's some good competition.
Anthony Richardson in game I will take, but against air when there's nobody hitting each other and you just have to make passes, Daniel Jones is far more accurate.
So you think Daniel Jones is better?
He's more accurate.
Okay.
I think Richardson could be a better quarterback.
Their win total is at 7.5 wins. I think they
Colts?
get it. Yeah, I think they get it regardless. I think regardless of the quarterback, they get it.
It's 7.5.
Yeah.
They have to win 8 games.
Yeah,
I'm
I
going
think
less.
they get it.
I'm going less.
Okay, everybody's getting fired. The Jaguars, 7.5 wins.
I'm going less.
I like it. I like the Jags a lot.
I like the idea of the Jags.
I
The
think that
idea
this
of the
division is
Jags.
going to be like, everybody's going to be like in the 8-win territory.
They won 4 games last year.
They were
Richardson-
dog
I
shit.
mean, Trevor did get hurt.
And
Their
then they have-
offensive
yeah,
line's still not good.
They get in a
The
quarterback.
team is not good.
Cook.
I mean, Brian Thomas Jr.,
He's amazing.
Brayton Strange,
Okay.
Dimey Brown,
You're naming
Dave
strong
Davis.
men.
Why is the second name you went
Travis
to?
Etienne.
We literally went to
Bigsby.
Brent Strange and Diami Brown.
What do you mean? They lost like 7 one-score games last year with Trevor Lawrence.
They're not a good team.
Yeah, that
So you're
regresses
telling
to
me
the
Trevor
mean.
Lawrence can't
7
win
and a
close
half.
games?
I mean, the defense overall. I mean, you look at the defense. Trayvon Walker keeps getting better.
I was gonna say Trayvon's
Josh
him.
Hines Allen, the linebackers. They're gonna draft Travis Hunter with the 4th pick
Olu Khan is very good.
or the 5th pick, I think.
7.5. Ugh.
I'm saying
Under.
less. Yeah.
Liam Cohen.
Under.
You don't believe in Liam Cohen. The Chiefs, 11.5.
Less.
Less?
10 flat.
Wow.
Ooh.
I
They
think
win double. That's the one I was saying earlier on when I said of the upper echelon teams, 10 flat.
this is like the worst I think the roster has been in a while. I'll go 11 flat.
I am feeling 11.
Yeah.
10
I
or
like
11, I'm not
All right,
surprised. But it's
under.
11 and a half, correct?
Under.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
12 win team. I'm going 11.
No more 1 seed.
The Raiders are 6.5.
Won 4 last year. You get a big
I like more.
upgrade.
I
like
do
more.
too.
You get a huge upgrade at head coach.
Gino
huge
has never
upgrade at
been under
quarterback.
500 as a
I
quarterback.
like their offensive line. The defense needs some work.
So you're back on Gino.
Gino 10-7, 9-8, 9-8.
I'm over. I'm with it.
He's back on Gino.
Division is, the division is hell.
So is NFC West.
Yeah, but at least you had like the Cardinals. You know what I mean?
Yo,
Yeah,
Joel, let
gets
me ask you a
kinda-
question. Let me ask you a question genuinely. Who raises the Raiders ceiling more, Geno Smith or Aaron Rodgers?
Gino.
Gino,
He's better than him.
you were a little iffy when I said Gino or Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, no.
You were very iffy, extremely iffy.
Maybe I had to process the question better, but no, it's Geno Smith. If Geno Smith had went to the Vikings...
You said actually
Super
verbatim.
Bowl.
That's really close, man. Gino.
That was a good impersonation.
Gino's good though. You know that.
He's really
You know
good.
that. He's better than Fields for sure.
I mean,
Yes.
it's not hard to do that.
There's 23 quarterbacks better than Fields.
The other day you told me Fields is better.
He could be better than Rodgers. Rodgers is like 22.
Okay, so the Raiders. I like the over on this. I mean, 6.5 wins is disrespectful for a quarterback the caliber of Geno Smith.
I don't disagree.
Yeah. Next team, the Chargers, 9.5. So the same as the Broncos, and they have plus 110 odds. So the Vegas is kind of looking at them the same way, even though the Broncos are plus 125.
With me, man, if you have a great quarterback and a great head coach, I'm in, and that's what they got.
I'm definitely going more.
I like it a lot too. I think they're gonna challenge the Chiefs for the division.
It's a 2-man race.
I get the feeling. Maybe 3.
2 weeks, man.
depending.
No,
depending.
don't talk to me.
Maybe 3. The Rams 9.5.
More. What are we doing? 9.5. Is that plus money?
No, it's minus
locked for you.
145.
Okay, deserved.
Miami Dolphins over 8.5 wins.
Dicey.
I don't know what I'm getting with Tua.
If Tua is healthy, then I could see this going.
Tua's
over.
healthy, more 10 wins flat.
Just don't know if Tua's gonna be healthy.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Not
that's
betting
true.
on this one.
This is interesting. Vikings 8.5.
Over.
Oh my God! Is that a plus?
Yeah, no, it's minus 135.
This is arguably one of the best rosters in the NFL.
8.5?
Yeah.
Disrespecting the hell out of JJ.
This is maybe the best roster in the division.
If this is Aaron Rodgers, I think it's not. It's 10.5.
2 wins.
Yes.
I'm taking the over. I'm taking that to the bank. Put the mortgage on it.
I like it too, especially if they get Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Okay.
The Patriots 7.5.
Less.
7.5. So I saw on DraftKings there's 8.5.
I like 7 and 10. That's kind of my record for the Patriots.
I'm feeling 6-7 wins.
Yeah, on DraftKings they're 8.5, and I thought that was ludicrous.
Yeah,
Dude,
that's
can
crazy.
Kayshawn Booty jump into top 25 conversations?
Top 25.
Top 25?
I don't know about top 25.
Okay.
Top 35 maybe.
Really?
Maybe top. 35.
He gets into top 35 conversations. I'm here.
Hey, there's a
I'll be
clip out there.
elated.
My sleepers in that draft. Booty was one of them, man.
I love that for you.
7.5. Vrabel could do things for that team,
He
man.
could.
Like
That's true.
he's one of those coaches that you could double your wins overnight. With that being said, doubling your wins is what, 6 wins?
If they have a better record than the Dolphins, would you be shocked?
Yes.
If Tua's healthy,
Yeah,
I'd be
facts.
shocked. But if he gets hurt, nah, obviously.
They got a nasty defense.
Yeah.
They're building
They
some,
should be
some
well
good things on that
coached.
defense.
Obviously, you bring in Stephon Diggs, so you have a reliable weapon now. It's possible, but that's a big jump going from 3 wins to 8
Yeah. The Saints are at 6.5.
under.
Yeah.
I like this being an under. I mean, I don't like their head coach. I like him more.
No.
I don't think he's that good.
Don't like quarterback.
Giants 5.5.
Under.
More.
Plus 125.
Under.
Send it.
Yeah, I mean, Russ is a winner.
Under.
Come on.
Be serious.
The defense is fringe great.
Team sucks.
What?
Not really.
Offense sucks.
Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns.
Hold on.
draft
Not
somebody.
really.
Offense is mid.
Healthy Andrew Thomas?
Maybe.
Healthy. Yeah, fair. Healthy Andrew Thomas.
Yeah.
The offensive line becomes good.
It's holding on by a
If he's healthy,
String.
the offensive line becomes good.
And the
Tyrone Tracy,
second
better
goes
than
out.
Najee Harris.
he's fine.
Oh, wow. The Najee Harris disrespect.
I did. Malik Neighbors, obviously.
Awesome.
Wando Robinson,
Okay.
average.
Okay. Yeah.
Darius Slayton, below average. In some people's eyes, average.
What they win last year? 4?
Dude, they have the third pick.
I know. What they win?
It's
3
terrible.
games? 4 games?
Their defense was not as good, as talented as it's going to be this year.
Yeah, they were
What,
definitely.
I mean, who'd they add?
They got Javon Holland.
Facts,
They added Paulson Adebo.
they were at 3 wins. So they would double their win total.
Yeah, I'm out.
I like Brian Dable. I like this.
I'm in. All in. All in.
And this year, like, you know, you're going from Daniel Jones got hurt, and then when he got hurt, they had like Tommy DeVito out there. You know,
Shout out to Danny DeVito.
if something happens to Rush, you're going to like Jameis Winston. I think that's a massive upgrade. You know, you at least have competent play to where you're not blatantly tanking out.
You weren't a Tommy Cutler guy?
Nah, he was bad.
He was.
The Jets are at 5.5. If you take
Over.
the under, it's
Slam.
plus 125 to take the under on 5.5.
Slam the over.
I'm thinking about the under 5.5.
Slamming the over. It's a new culture. It's a new quarterback. It's a new day.
But this is the Jets. I feel like with the Jets,
7 and 10. Lock.
whenever there's no expectations, they win like 6-7 games.
That's what I'm saying.
They win like 2 meaningless games at the end of the season.
You guys are dog shit.
They could win 7 games so easily.
I can see this happening. Yeah,
They can win 7 games like it's no problem.
I'd take more because
like it's no problem. No, we're struggling to get there.
I don't feel good about it.
Hey, that would be 2 more wins than Rodgers got us.
Nah, I'm gonna be honest with you. Less. This team's not good.
I wish he had help, man.
Who?
Watch the defense play better and stuff like that.
The defense
I
will
don't
play
know.
better.
I hope we got some better
Can you draft
defensive
some
pieces.
safeties?
Maybe. They're
We got
banking on
Cisco, Andre Cisco.
Yeah.
Yep, dog.
They'll draft a safety day 3 maybe.
And we got Derek Nottie from the Chiefs. You heard that about that signing, right?
Yeah, no, I did.
Derek Nottie. He's
fine-
a champion.
He's like a fine.
He's
if you-
bringing some championship
like
pedigree.
your third interior defensive lineman.
You know who
yeah.
else was bringing championship pedigree to you guys? Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Mm.
10 years ago, though.
That
Derek
was
Nottie,
unnecessary?
long ago.
a recent
So long
champion.
ago.
Sorry.
Yeah, Derek Nottie's a recent champion. He's going to
Yes.
bring in some life.
McCole Hardman was supposed to bring us a championship too, and
The Eagles,
He didn't make it
11
past
and a
preseason.
half.
Hammer it.
Both minus 110, over, under.
They're going to have less than 11 and a half.
no, they should win 12.
Yeah,
Like,
they
what are we
should
thinking
win
about?
that many games. The Steelers, over 8.5 plus 120.
Send it
At this
to
is
crib.
right now, they're under the assumption Aaron Rodgers is not there yet. So I think the plus 120 is a steal.
I think it's baked in a little bit.
Oh, you think so?
You think if it's who's Mason Rudolph? Who's their quarterback right now?
Mason Rudolph?
Mason Rudolph, right? If
It
it
could
was
have still
I'm
been
be honest,
8.5.
they could still win 9 games.
if it was in Penn, I feel like it's like plus 200 over.
Okay.
I will take the over though, because until Tomlin does it, I'll just bet on it.
Yeah, I mean, with Tomlin and Rodgers Hall of Fame pedigree, I mean, they're getting 9 wins at least.
Christ.
The 49ers, 10.5 wins.
Under.
Woo!
Plus 110.
Under.
I'm taking the under. You're banking on a lot of positive regression.
I
Progression.
don't think the 49ers, like all the players they
All
let
would
go,
say.
I don't think they, like a lot of them matter all that much.
Say it again.
The 49ers, the players that they let go, I don't think they matter all that much. There's a few that do. Drake Greenlaw mattered.
Mm-hmm.
Talanoa Hufanga, because of the safeties they have, Malik Mustafa and Jair Brown, I don't think that mattered all that much. Mustafa was playing incredible.
It's really the health. It's the health of the offensive line, right? You got Trent Williams up there in age, CMC, Brandon Ayuk. George Kittle was healthy last year, but he's had years in the past where he gets banged up.
Like Debo, I don't think losing him really means much.
Yeah, I don't think it matters a ton.
Yeah. Jordan Mason, he was awesome, but if CMC's healthy and with
Jordan
Garendo,
Mason was awesome.
it shouldn't matter all that much.
I'm still saying less.
Yeah, I think they're a 10-win team.
Yeah, I think they're around there. I don't know. I kind of like them bouncing back. I think Shanahan has always bounced back. I kind of like the over there. The Seahawks, 7.5.
More.
7. That feels kind of low.
It does.
Sammy D.
They're counting on Sam Darnold regressing,
That offensive line's bad.
which it can happen.
I need to see what the draft looks like. I need to see the
Sammy has
offensive
played
line.
with a bad offensive line. He's been let me not say the Vikings' offensive line was bad like the Seahawks last year, but it wasn't great, and he was still able to extend out the pocket and make some great plays. Not having DK's a bummer.
You just downgrade across the board.
Yeah, but
calling.
JSN in the slot, he's going to get open
Awesome.
religiously, and I think that
They don't have it too, though.
they genuinely don't. Which why I think in the draft I would not be surprised if that's one of their top priorities.
Yeah, I think the toughest thing is like you're going from Minnesota to Seattle, where Minnesota, you were bombing it down the field, and that's where a lot of his big time throws came
He's
from.
playing in a dome.
To where you're now going to Seattle, and
Weather could get bad.
the receivers that you have aren't really downfield threats.
Facts.
So you're throwing into muddier coverage, muddier looks, more interceptions
Muddier
can
turf,
happen.
some might argue,
it's a
because
fact.
you're not.
I don't
in a
know.
dome?
I
taking the under.
could see it under.
Wow.
That's bold of you, Dels. I like 8 and 9.
I like 7 and
I don't
10.
like 7 and 10. I think you're being very disrespectful to Sam Darnold. I think
You
you
took Rodgers over him.
Yes, I did. That's respect to A-Rod. You have no respect for legends. He's a top 5 quarterback to ever play this game.
This isn't 2018 Aaron Rodgers. This is 2025.
It might as well have been. He got sold by the defense both times. The Buccaneers, 9.5 wins.
I like it.
I like it too. The division's bad. They should still run it, even though it's a new OC. That run game should be elite again. Baker was great. Get Godwin back. Mike, I like it.
It's plus 115 for them to get 10 wins.
I like that.
This is maybe like the real team in the NFC that wins the division 3 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
If the Lions don't do it, I think the Buccaneers do it. That's an underrated thing people aren't noticing. But if they win 3 years in a row,
Look
for
at
them,
Todd Bowles. man.
No. I guess they don't talk about it, but I remember being called an idiot.
Yeah,
For the Lions take, so we'll see.
Close. And
Even if they don't go 3, I feel like I'm
2 for 3
in
so
the
far.
green, baby.
66%, it's a D.
Still in the green. Oh no, right now it's 100. Right now it's 100.
It is 100.
Right now it's 100.
Titans are 5.5. With Cam Ward,
Under.
My goodness.
How much? 5.5?
5.5.
No way.
I don't really trust anything the Titans got going
They
on.
need this to be 3.5, and I would still.
Dude, they've had some of the worst drafts ever. for the last 5 years. I will say the back-to-back of Skoronski and Latham, positive direction, and talking first-round picks solely. But geez, you want to talk about whiffing on first-round picks? That's what they've done for a long time, and that's why they're in the position they're at right now.
Yep, not sold the coach, not sold the quarterback. I'm good.
I like Cam Ward. I just don't like Brian Callahan.
You're not a Brian Callahan kind of guy.
Nah, Brian
I just
Callahan,
don't
I didn't like the way he treated Will Levis. I thought, Will Levis was a knucklehead, but he would go to the press conference and he would just be like, yeah, he made the same mistake I told him not to make last week. I know, but it's a young guy. Like, what if Cam Ward makes back-to-back mistakes and then Brian Callahan just up there saying, oh, yeah, my quarterback's fucking stupid.
I mean, I watched Dable absolutely rip Daniel Jones on a sideline. Everyone's like, good. Yeah, get it.
You should stick up for Jalen Green like that, man.
Well, it's year 2 versus like year 5,
Not at that time.
Get a little bit of leeway.
Also, Will Levis, that's not his guy. No.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe Cam Ward is his guy, so there's some added things to that. Commanders 9.5.
Hammer.
Oh wow, 9.5.
Yeah, minus 110, 9.5. Yeah, I think maybe they should at least get 10 wins.
If they don't get 10 wins, that'd be a bit disappointing.
It would be very disappointing.
Yeah, because 9 wins, you're a borderline playoff team.
I mean, depending on who you ask, they had a disappointing offseason. Because a lot of Texans fans were happy Laramie Tunsil got out of there.
I think those fans are a little silly.
And a lot of 49ers fans are happy Debo was out of there.
I also think people are pointing to the fact that Laramie Tunsil was one of the league leaders, if not the league leader in penalties.
He was, yeah.
A lot of it was false starts, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Which was a part of the new rules of them trying to really lock in on false starts and try and make sure that the linemen aren't jumping. But also, Laramie Tunsil's probably smarter than every person on that offensive line. If he's moving, he's probably on time.
It depends on what state of mind he was in.
Wow. What does that mean?
I think we all know what it means.
Just go back to draft day, look at the pictures.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Oh my God, Ashton Genty, what are you doing?
Photoshop that.
Those are the win totals. And that's going to do it for this episode of Pick Us Out Podcast, episode 475. We'll be back here on Thursday.
No doubts.
To give you guys some content.
No doubts.
I'm out
Prepare
of
for that,
commission
guys.
For a week.
Dales is going on vacation.
Mentally prepare for that.
We'll be back here in the studio. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Pick Aside Pod, on Instagram and TikTok at Pick Aside Podcast. And we'll see you guys next time.